Hello, everybody. Back again. Phonogenics 101. The Stevie Nicks crew is here tonight, and we are about to redeem ourselves after last week's podcast. All right. So, the usual thing, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to throw me a couple bucks a month on my Patreon, it's always appreciated. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, Stevie Nicks. We talked about Street Angel for like 3 hours last month, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, being a Stevie Nicks fan, I thought she was done. Like, it's over for Stevie. She's an oldies act, a flop. I still loved her. I loved Street Angel. And then things started to happen. Fleetwood Mac came out with a live album called The Dance. It was really good. Really good. We're going to talk about Fleetwood Mac in some other series in the future. Stevie Nicks released a single on a couple songs on the Practical Magic soundtrack that were really good. If you ever did believe, and she remade Crystal. And then there was the Enchanted box set. So things started happening when I'm like, I think things are happening with Stevie. She did a couple tours, and all of a sudden, Stevie was back in the public favor. She was back in a big way. So I believe there was an interview in like 1998 where she said her next album was going to be called Trouble in Shangri-La. I'm like, damn, that's quite the album title. That was different. And we had to wait 3 years before the actual album came out. Things were leaking in the news. She was collaborating with Sheryl Crow. She did some tracks with Dallas Austin, who had produced TLC's Unpretty. So these little tidbits were leaking out. So the first thing that I heard from the album, and this is also the days of Napster. So this is the first time when my computer was full of Stevie Nicks demos. So this was the era when the fans really started trading, or at least to my knowledge. It may have happened sooner, but this is where I was on board. I knew all the demos. And I knew of this really pretty piano song that she did in the 70s called No Light.
No Light.
On my demo CD. So then when I heard in 2001 about Stevie's new single, Planets of the Universe, I was like, holy shit. I wonder if it's No Light. Mm-hmm. And then when the music from Trouble in Shangri-La started coming out on the internet, I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, Stevie's back in a big way. At that time, the music was the producers really modernized her sound. And, that was a time of Britney Spears, the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. And Stevie, she wasn't on the same genre as them, but she was holding her own against all these new acts and coming out with some fucking great material. So I remember going to Walmart, because the new releases, you can buy them after midnight at the Walmart. I went to the Walmart on Fletcher, and I made the associate, like, go in the boxes where the new releases were. And I had that CD in my hand. I was so excited to have a new Stevie Nicks CD. And then she was so back. Like, our girl was back in a big way. So I'm sorry, this is like a 20-hour run-on sentence, but I fucking love this album. I love this time in my life. Like, I was a serious club kid, going out a lot, and, for all the high highs you have when you have that kind of lifestyle, there's the low lows. So Stevie's music, once again, was really coming alongside me in my life, and I could really relate to these songs. Like, these songs were as relatable and important to me as anything from Tusk or Belladonna. So going into this, I'll say I love this album. So let's go around the panel. I'm going to introduce everybody and tell me about, how you came into Trouble in Shangri-La. I'm going to go in the order of my screen. Nathan.
I'd been a fan for a couple of years when I found this album, and I think I must have bought it in about 2004 or 5, so it wasn't new at the time. It's not my favorite, but I think it's more good than bad, and my top 3 songs on it are the title track, Candle Bright, and Too Far from Texas. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see it, and I'm Nathan, and I'm from Portland.
Cool. All right, Jim.
Yes, this was one of our. I just got married in year 2000 to another leggy,
Yes.
And we had a sit down and we listened to this album. And, you know, being an early marriage, my focus wasn't, you know, a lot on this. We just listened to it together and said, yeah, it's really good. It's a really good album. And as a side note, like when the dance came out, and it was like it premiered on MTV and like Silver Springs came on. I remember walking through like a shelter belt on our farm, and I felt this relief that Stevie's okay now.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about her anymore, because really I did, because, you know, it could have been like, there was a period there where like she was a nobody and there was no interviews, there was no news or nothing. And it's like, is she just kind of, you know, fading away, and you'll hear the bad news. And I never, and that was when, you know, when the dance came out, it's just like that release, that worry and fear of, you know, because she's a big part of our lives, of course. And it was like, wow, she's okay. And, you know, and this album kind of, you know, jumps off of that and kicks it into gear as back to the solo artist, and doing great songs. And it's a solid album all the way through. And we'll get into that, you know, later, so the next person can go.
Cool. I remember there was one year when the only Stevie Nicks news item that I saw was like her hair was like insured or something. Like she was trying to insure her hair. That's the only thing you saw all year. All right, we're introducing Chris K to the panel.
Chris.
Yes. Should I tell my origin story with Stevie, or just how I came to this record?
Whatever.
Excuse me.
Do both, since it's your first time.
Okay, well, I first got into her around Rock a Little. Is really, you know, when I kind of went full bore into my Stevie. I bought that album. I had the back catalog. I saw her 3 times on that tour. And then ever since then, from Rock a Little forward, I've always seen her, usually multiple times, because I live in the New England area. So she plays this area pretty heavily. So within a 3 or 4 hour radius, you can hit multiple shows of hers up in this area. So I was into her for quite a long time. And like you guys had reflected on the last 2 episodes, she kind of hit her little rough patch there, like Other Side of the Mirror and Street Angel. Things were starting to look shaky. I was still going. I was still faithful. I was still loving the shows, but you got to be honest with yourself. She wasn't at her best. So when this record came out, like you, Jeremy, I was really stoked. The fact that she went back and culled some of her old demos. I had heard these on cassette prior to the internet, back in the cassette collecting days, Nomad and Sorcerer. So I was so into those songs, and I was just so happy that she was finally bringing those songs out. And not to mention, not just those old demos, but coupled with newer songs that were great. So in my opinion, it's her strongest record since The Wild Heart. My opinion. I really loved this record. I loved the tour. I really felt she was back. But it had been building, like you said, the dance and Enchanted, everything was starting to come back around her way. She was fantastic in the dance. The Enchanted box set tour was awesome for fans. And then this record. So she was on an upward trajectory at this point from where she had been. That's how I felt. As a fan.
Not only was she remaking some of those demo songs, but like doing them really good versions of them. You know what I mean? Right. It wasn't like Street Angel where you have Love Is Like a River, which we love. Like we love it.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes her demos, you know, and I'll get off the subject, but sometimes the demos, I don't know if I have just such an affinity for the time period they were made in and how they're so raw and vulnerable, and I love them. Sometimes I don't like it when a producer just starts layering on lots of goop, as I put it, where it starts to get away from the song's true essence and the way her vocals were back then. Like, and I don't know if it's just the nostalgia of having that on a cassette and hearing it, and nobody else has heard this. Sure. You know, there's a lot that plays into the demos, but sometimes the demos to me are her at her rawest, and that's always her at her best. But they did not castrate them here. And Planets of the Universe, from what I read today, I guess it was a #1 dance single.
It was.
So it shows that, you know, whatever they did to it, they made a hit out of it. So
I was definitely at G Bar with my shirt off, dancing to Planets of the Universe in 2001. I would never take my shirt off in a club now. Okay, Steven.
This is my moving to California Stevie Nicks album. I could not wait to drive up the coast and blast Fall from Grace on the car stereo. And I did.
Oh, yes.
I loved this album to death when it came out. It was my favorite album at that point in time. That's it.
All right. Sometimes a man of not many words, but it's about quality, not quantity. Oh, I love that visual of you driving up. I'm getting emotional even thinking about like the impact this album had on my life. Like, Jesus. Okay. Ronnie.
Hi guys. Hi Alicia. I love your haircut.
Oh, thank you.
This album for me, a lot like what everybody else has said. I have crest strips in my mouth, so I sound like I have a lisp. I do have a lisp. It was really weird. The timing of it was released in the spring,
Yeah,
and then she went on tour, and then I saw her 6 days after 9/11.
Oh,
And we thought, oh, well, the whole world's going to end and the show's going to be canceled. And it was very emotional and serene for me. And I loved the whole album, minus maybe 2 songs.
Sure.
But it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. My friend Jason went with me, and we thought the concert was going to be canceled. And, you know, she came on, and unlike other Stevie concerts where she has the big back, you know, the big frame or the imagery, there was just this huge banner of the American flag. There was an American flag back there. And I think that's really when she really started getting into connecting with the audience and talk. 'Cause she, you know, kind of said a little, not silent prayer, but, you know, a prayer for the audience and whether she was going to continue on with this tour. And sorry guys, I have to admit I did buy this and it's like 85% accurate, I think. And, you know, he references her about that time, and it's just very emotional to me. You know, I wasn't working. That's my birthday, actually, September 11th. And it's just very, you know, this reconnection. Thank you. This reconnection with, you know, I was so grateful, and it was just a time of being serene, and the whole world, or America, was woke.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get back to that again, but, you know, we're here now, and we're in a good place. But I don't want to get into all that. So yeah, it's emotional for me, but I love excuse me, I love the album.
I feel like this might be our most emotional podcast of all of them we've done so far. Because I can say for myself, God, this album meant so much to me to have Stevie Nicks back. Like I need yes. Stevie Nicks. I need her. Okay, Roland.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm rolling up in Canada. I was pretty harsh on the Street Angel album, but this record I love. I love this record. And I remember before the record came out, they were releasing snippets of songs, like maybe 20 seconds of, you know, Trouble in Shangri-La and all the other songs. And I just even loved the little short clips of them. So I anticipated this great album coming out. And I did grow up knowing these songs earlier on cassette, like when Candle Bright was called Nomad, at least that's what the fans called it, and Planets of the Universe was No Light. And I must have bought this CD the first day it came out, like I always did. And I got to see 3 of the shows, 2 at Great Woods, Massachusetts with Sheryl Crow, and 1 in Toronto, which happened to be the September 10th show. Had Stevie stayed in Canada that night, because some of her crew apparently did, I think she would have been stuck in Canada because, you know, the next day and the borders were closed. But, you know, she said that she left that night and, you know, she was in a hotel and kind of saw stuff. Yeah. So it's an amazing record, and she really came back. I mean, the artwork, for instance, is fantastic.
Oh, so
For
good.
the record, I mean, it wasn't crappy and cheap like Street Angel, and you got these nice images, like here, and there were outtakes. You could find outtakes of the cover, different shots of her, like different poses, which are really, really nice. If you look around for that, and there was like cool stuff at the concert, like you get one of these things, and it was an amazing show, and I love the record, maybe except for Love Changes, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, love the record.
Yeah, it was a great time to be a Stevie Nicks fan. It was a great time to be alive in some ways. Okay, and last but not least, she's been with me since Belladonna. You're the Sharon to my Lori. If you didn't show up, I would just hit stop meeting and wait till you showed up. All right, Alicia, everybody.
Hey, I'm probably the youngest fan in the group tonight. So I didn't become a fan until 2007. So definitely way after all the hype of Trouble in Shangri-La. But I do remember buying this, I think, shortly after Belladonna. And this was pretty much stuck in my CD player for a good year. This is a really good record. I love it, except for 2 songs.
Yeah, we all have our 2 songs we don't like.
And I think we're all going to agree with those 2 songs.
I'm wondering if it's going to be the same, too, because when I played through it today, there were just 2 in the middle that I said, okay, those are weak. The rest is fantastic. But I don't know if we're all going to pick the same 2.
I bet
There's
we
2
won't.
in the middle where I'm like, no, they could have gone.
Well,
but other than that, it's awesome.
When you have songs like Touched by an Angel that went onto a soundtrack and you go, oh my gosh, this is so good.
Or Space Needle.
Yes.
Oh my God.
My 2 that I don't like is Too Far from Texas, and that made me stronger. I think Hard Vice was much better than.
Oh my God, Hard Advice makes me cry every time I hear it. It's so fucking good.
But those are my 2. The rest of the album is just fantastic. I have to repeat it. So, but yeah.
Let's all go around and say the 2 we don't like. Just let's not make everybody wait.
Well, now I'm embarrassed because those aren't my 2. So I thought those weren't my 2. So now I'm screwed.
My 2 are That Made Me Stronger and I Miss You.
Bingo.
Love Changes. Love Changes.
That's
Changes.
mine. Love Changes. Yeah, I don't like that.
I like that Casio drum beat. Give it to me. All right. So before we get into the tracks, I'm so happy to be here, everybody. This is so special. Because
thank you for inviting me, Jeremy.
Your email was so enthusiastic. I had to. How could I say no? My goodness. But listen, though, years from now, the music will remain. But what won't remain is how the music affected the people that lived with it when it came out. So we're leaving a record for that for people forever. This album meant so much to all of us. And, Street Angel meant a lot to me, too. But that was kind of like, the back alley date. Like, I was, like, showing up at the party with the date on my arm this time. So before we get into the songs, let's talk about the damn cover art. Originally, I thought it was a picture of her sitting there. I thought that was the front cover. But then, the cover we knew. Once I saw this, Sarah McLachlan, or whatever her name is, did the S, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once I saw this, I'm like, this is a serious Stevie Nicks album. This isn't going to end up in the budget bin. And it charted, right? Didn't it chart in top 10?
Yeah, it was in the top 10.
Did she fire Chris? That's the art director.
I think it charted almost as high as like 4 or 5. It was high when I read it. I was surprised today because I just bought it back then. I didn't follow stats back then, but I was like, wow, right. It was a success to me. Yeah. I didn't know it was a success, for real.
And people knew about this album that weren't Stevie Nicks fans. Like, it was actually on the pop culture radar. Because I remember this one guy I used to hang out with, like, he was so basic. He's awful, let's be honest. But he knew about, he's like, that Trouble in Shangri-La, the Stevie Nicks album. So, once again, she was in pop culture with current material. So, we had an album cover that was beautiful. We had a #1 hit at the clubs where I was dancing with my, and I'm a huge Madonna fan, so this was around the time that music came out. So, like, my 2 main girls were both at the top of their game again. And it was so cool, man. Oh, can we go back? just for one moment. Yeah, Ronnie.
Well, Jim might understand this. The original title was Trouble in Paradise, I believe.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then she changed it. Maybe that's wrong in that book, but she changed it, obviously, after she wrote the song. But it was her time in paradise, but I just love the artwork and I love the imagery. My cassette's broke, obviously.
But her look from behind reminds me of like the 82 era.
Yeah.
She brought back the dress.
You know what I mean? Like that picture reminds me of like the Gypsy video, like that 82 flowing.
Yeah.
You know, that's Stevie Nicks, you know?
Well, remember how
this is great too. This is great. Like Alicia's poster.
I love that.
Remember how, like, you know, Street Angel, the cover where she looked like this. But then, like, even like I think it was if you ever did believe, like the single cover, she had the curly hair, like she actually looked like beautiful Stevie Nicks again.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate to body shame anybody for weight. It's not about the weight. But even like because Stevie got heavier again after 2001, but she never lost that glow of being back and being invested again. And that's what really shone more than like how much she weighed. It was like she had that sparkle in her eyes again. You know, we heard all about it and that made me stronger. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Does anyone else want to talk about the album cover? Ronnie.
Before interrupting everybody else again, I have a question. Was Twisted recorded before?
Yes.
This CD?
I think Twisted is technically 96, the spring of 96. It's even before the dance. That's what led to
Yes, you're right. Yes, Chris, you're right.
They got together and that led to the dance.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I remember it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Does anyone else want to comment on the album cover? Alicia.
I love this album cover. Because it's just so colorful. If you go through her catalog, it's really darker colors or white and black. I guess the other side of the mirror had that red, so it made it pop. But this is really the only one up to this point that really it was vibrant. And when you start looking at other people's album covers, they don't have all this color and it really does. And I was impressed that she brought back the dress, as Chris was saying, because she really made that a part of her brand. And it was interesting to see it kind of disappear the previous decade and a half. So it was really great to see her bring. And then you notice on the back, she actually has the picture of her and the girls.
I know.
Like she must have had somebody do their homework with.
Yeah. That reminds me of the Wild Heart shoe.
Yes.
The inside, you know, but modernized.
Yes. So, I mean, it made me wonder if, like, during Enchanted, she had, like, a strategy, you know, legacy meeting. Okay, how are we going to get there, you know?
I think one thing that was very advantageous to her moves career-wise is I think she was embracing her past, and there was a new generation that were ready to go all in on that.
Mm-hmm.
She was coming back to claiming who she was, Stevie Nicks, the original Gypsy. The songs were from the past, and she was bringing them to the forefront. She was rolling off the fame of how much she nailed Silver Springs in the dance, and how new generations of women were looking up to her, and modern ones like Sheryl Crow and Courtney Love were citing her as an influence. So I think it was all kind of like a perfect storm. And then celebrating her career through the box set, and then leading to this, it just seemed to be she was willing to embrace her past and own it, but strong, you know,
so strong.
The people were eating it up. I think, at least me as a fan.
Yeah. Roland. Is he frozen?
Roland.
He got froze with his hand up. Shit. Oh, now we lost him. Losing a man. Story of my. Yeah, he's like, I'm out. You're not gonna call me. I'm out of here.
He'll pop in.
Oh, Roland, you're back. Hello. Did you have your hand up? I think you're muted.
Unmute. Yes.
What?
Okay. If anyone's curious, those Chinese letters that you see scattered around the album, they are nonsensical words. I asked my parents. They're like moon, star, love. It's just nonsense words for decoration. They don't mean anything.
I'll take it.
Thank you.
And also, what did you say? The reason it's a beautiful cover and beautiful artwork is because her brother Christopher was not involved in this like he was with Street Angel and doing that cheap stuff. So she hired a team to really reconnect itself, you know, with the nice photos and all.
Has Christopher done any of her album covers after Street Angel?
No.
Because I feel like she's been
Enchanted,
on point.
The feather.
Okay, but
The
after
feather and
Enchanted,
Enchanted.
he was gone after Enchanted.
No, but he did her ugly tour books. That's why they're so ugly, because he did them.
I got the
She's
gold.
ugly.
I got the Gold Dust tour book, and it has like 3 pages that are all the same. Like they did the same page.
They're
Like,
crap.
Oh my god.
It was
They're
terrible.
Here's a whole page with Hawaii saying, "I can see past you to the white sands." What a waste! You know, I could have bought a postcard.
All right, we got to be nice after my erotica podcast. I'm just kidding. I don't care. We speak the truth here. Okay, so any thoughts on the album cover before we move into the songs themselves? All right. Oh, Ronnie.
One more thing. My friend Jason showed me like a picture of the pre-release or whatever. And I thought, oh my God, she's jumping through a window. She's jumping through a window. And then I saw the actual cover and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. You know, with the song. I run through the grass, I run through the sea. Yeah.
Show me the way back, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So apparently Trouble in Shangri-La was written about O.J. Simpson. She was watching the trial. And this was the first song she wrote for the album. And the second one was the Love Is, which was the last song on the album. So I believe the story is she wrote the first and last song. And that's what got the whole ball rolling in 1996. And then, you know, over the years, all the material in between came. So the first time I heard the song Trouble in Shangri-La, holy shit. Like, finally, we had an opening track that was on par with the epic Belladonna, the epic Wild Heart, and we once again had a title track that was epic.
Exactly, Jeremy. I couldn't say it any more better myself.
Because
We finally had that opening track that
Yes.
she just kills it.
Because for Street Angel, we got and David Crosby. This is not David Crosby singing harmony. And then like even the lyrics are so emotional. Like for once, I'm getting it. I can't even talk. She was like writing about my life again. You know, like the way I think and the way I feel life is the way Stevie Nicks writes about life in her songs. And the song Trouble in Shangri-La, like I've been in the room with people that steal the beauty in all the room. and I've run through the grass and over the stones and down to the sea, honey. I live in Florida, so many times I've run to the damn ocean trying to not go crazy. And it was so Stevie Nicks, the show me the way back, honey. Like that is so Stevie. And she hadn't been Stevie like that in a long time. Shut me up because I can talk
That's
about
what she
this
says
forever.
there. I always see. I misinterpreted it. You just gave me an awesome lyric. I thought she says, "I need."
No, honey.
She says, "Honey," right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Isn't that so Stevie? That's
Right.
so
I used to think she was throwing in an extra lyric. I thought she was going, "I need." That's what I thought she was saying.
So John Shanks produced this song, correct?
Yeah.
Sheryl Crow wasn't available to do the whole album. I think the right people found the right songs on this album. Sheryl Crow could not have done Trouble in Shangri-La. He made this. Oh, someone else talk because I'm just going to go on and on. I love this song so much. Who wants to go first? Okay, Roland.
This is an epic track. It's on par with Belladonna and Wild Heart. You know, I wish she did it live, but what she did instead was right before the show started, she would. It was a pre-recorded track, but it would be sung. you know, you get excited and then the curtains rise. But you know, at least she did that at least for the song.
And then they went into Bootylicious,
that was
right?
Cool. Yes, exactly.
Did she
Yes,
play Trouble in Shangri-La and then Bootylicious?
No, I think Bootylicious was first. Bootylicious was, I think, was first, and then Trouble in Shangri-La. So that built up the excitement, you know, the theme of the show. Curtains went up, and she came out, and I think she did Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
Right.
And Bootylicious was another pop.
That's my memory of that.
Like Bootylicious put Stevie Nicks in.
Oh yes.
You know, really high on the charts, and her little thing where she's in the video with the guitar. That wasn't going to happen in 1994. Having her be in that video, like, it's so freaking cool. I love this era so much. Okay, Trouble in Shangri-La, the song. Anybody else? Jim.
Yes, in a way it reminds me a lot of Hotel California. A lot of dark themes, a lot of, you know, to write something like this it takes a lot of despair to you know, live that life and, you know, and be that low and come out of it. And that's kind of what I think about that. And it's a very, this is a very modern sounding song. You know, this sounds very modern, very, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. It fits in with the music of that period, you know. Sarah McLachlan, Sheryl Crow, and all that. It fits with all that was going on. The VH1, you know, the basic VH1, you know, what they've been playing there. It fit in with that era.
Paula Cole.
Yeah, you know, it may be, you know, sometimes you just have to go with the flow, and it didn't compromise her art. It was just of that time.
She's like, move over, bitches. I'm the original, and I'm coming back to slay.
Yeah.
And she did, too. None of those girls have a song half as good as Trouble in Shangri-La.
It's very epic.
And her vocal performance is so committed. Like, she's feeling it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, Ronnie.
Jeremy, so did she start working with the vocal coach Stephen Reel, like in the dance era?
I think so.
I think so. I think so. That would reiterate. I love the lyrics. I love it's phenomenal. Show me the way back, and then it goes into the other song.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's just it brings up that imagery of the twister, and you know the. Brings up the air and the wind. I'm not going to sing to you, but I mean, it's just it's cathartic. It's very like it brings you into you can see the visuals if you're playing it in your car or whatever. But yeah, that's what I love about the song, and it's totally epic.
You know, that's the song Blue Lamb where it says, "Don't listen to her, listen through her." This is the first time I felt like I listened through her. Since maybe even Rock a Little, to be honest. Like I loved Other Side of the Mirror and Street Angel, but like sometimes I have trouble expressing emotion, and a lot of times I channel emotions through Stevie Nicks song. Like I listen to them, and then it helps me release something that I keep inside. And this song definitely did that for me. Yeah. Anyone else? Trouble in Shangri-La, the song sounds like we have a pretty universal praise here. Steven, tell me that you don't hate it. Oh, thumbs up.
I love this song.
Oh,
I love this song.
Nathan, you're quiet up there.
Great song.
Oh. Do we all agree on something for the first time ever?
I love it. I think it's one of her best songs ever.
Yes.
Like, it's probably, it's hard to say because she's written so many great songs, including Fleetwood Mac. It might be a top 10 Stevie Nicks song. It's way up there for me. To me, it's the best song on the album, without question. But it's also one of the best songs of her career.
Yeah.
And like you said, Jeremy, it's so epic. It's up there with Belladonna and Wild Heart. It's right up there. And there was a gap in time where she hadn't come up with anything that great till this.
Right.
My opinion. I'm not slagging her. I still like all her material. Please don't get me wrong.
Yep.
I'm just saying of this level. Of this level of incredibleness.
It's
this song's on another level.
I don't know if it's on another level. It's a little overproduced.
Oh, I'd take it.
And, you know, as Jim said a moment ago, which is why they couldn't do it on stage, because there's too many layers of vocal harmonies and shit going on in the background. And like Jim just said a moment ago, it's of its time, which is a nice way, I think, of saying it's dated. And it sounds like it came out in the year 2000, which it did, basically.
Right.
So pretty good, but top 10? I don't know.
That might be a bit high. That might be a bit
Hey,
high.
it's your top 10.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the song credits, and it's amazing that she wrote a lot of the songs by herself. There were no collaborations, and maybe just one or two I co-wrote with, or every day she didn't write it, but a lot of the songs were written by her, which is great.
and they're such good
She's come
songs.
back.
So
Yes.
Here was my excitement where I hadn't felt a Stevie Nicks song that spoke to me in quite some time like that one. So there's a bit of that mixed in too. It was very big at the time.
Tom Petty
Now that
was
you
right.
say that, top 10, you're right, Nathan. That might be a little overboard. I'm trying to hype the song a bit, though. I'm trying to give it the credit it deserves. It's a really strong track for Stevie.
I might put it in my top 10. I don't mind that it's from 2001 because that's where my memories lie of this. So it's of its time, and I like that about it.
Wasn't it so exciting in concert when they had that a cappella over the sound system?
Oh yeah.
I've never been so
Yeah.
excited.
Her vocals on the chorus are just insane. She hasn't done anything like that since. You know, that rotation and the way it comes in and out. Like, that's one of her things that she's only done a few times. It's very rare.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
What is it? I'm not a musician, so what is it? The call and response that Chris is recognizing?
Yeah, I guess that's what you call it.
Her vocals.
And she kind of
Are the
does
girls-
a round.
are the
It's
girls
almost
on
like
this?
she's doing a round.
Yeah,
I think the girls are there.
Karen and Lori is on it. So, but she's also doing her own back. Honey. She's also doing that call and response thing. I think.
You can really hear the
And
girls on this "Show Me the Way Back," like the last line.
Yeah.
And you hear her really loud in the mix,
Yeah.
especially on the last one.
Well, I think we can all agree Stevie's back, baby. No doubt about it.
She's back.
In a big way. In a big way.
See, that's what I meant, Nathan. It was the track to bring her back. It was the perfect song.
I never thought I'd have a Stevie Nicks epic title track again. Like I never in my wildest.
Exactly. Maybe that's another reason why it was unexpected. Maybe I thought in my mind she's not capable.
Yeah, I didn't think she was capable. Hell,
You
no.
know, I might have written her off.
I thought we were gonna get Greta for
Or Jane.
yeah, fucking Jane. Okay, Ronnie and Alicia, were your hands up, or am I just excitable?
Go ahead, Alicia, please.
Well, I mean, this is an epic song. I like how she uses different colors to describe. And this song, it's very much, and I agree with Ronnie, this is a very visual song. Every time I see this, I can see the pillars and the wind and everything.
Yeah.
And I find it very interesting that she also she mentions God. You really don't hear that in her other songs.
Mhm.
But this is an A++ song. I mean, it's definitely she's done so many good songs, but it's definitely in the top 25%. It's a great song. And it's definitely, she's back. So.
It's very visual and cinematic
Yeah,
and
I was-
epic.
I wish I could have seen her in the recording studio recording this.
Oh my
No,
God.
she was flailing around.
With her glasses on.
Yeah. All right.
I
Any
forgot
other-
what I was gonna say, but when I bought this, I was I worked at a gas station. I won't say the name, and we had this vendor that would always come in, and of course, I was a pothead for many years, and I was playing it, and the lady came in. She was in her mid-40s, and she said, "Oh, well, they were just playing that at the last station I was just in. This must be a really good song, or really good." And, I had a little interaction with her. I didn't tell her about all Stevie's recovery and all that bullshit, but I said, yeah, it's a really good CD. You should come and get it or go out and buy it. And yeah, so I think it was really like, obviously it was the comeback of Stevie, but after the dance and Enchanted, but I think it really influenced, especially if they played, every day in supermarkets or Kmart or whatever. Kmart's non-existent anymore.
I love Kmart. Don't get me started.
The only place it's good for.
I didn't catch that.
I just said I love Kmart. I'm sad it's gone. But an album's permeating the conversation when you go to two gas stations and they're playing it. Like that's where life happens. You know what I mean?
2 in a row, yes, sir.
That's where damn life happens. I spend more time in my local 7-Eleven than a lot of other places. All right. So, any other thoughts on Trouble in Shangri-La? All right. So, talk about a damn 1-2 punch.
Wow, it's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. We're one song.
Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock.
Started.
We're only allowed to talk about each song for 5 minutes here. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow,
Okay.
sure. Candle break.
Talk about a 1-2 punch. It goes right into Candle Bright. I never really liked the demo of Nomad. I just thought it was kind of like, eh. But then, like, Sheryl Crow brought the song to life for me. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this song can be. Yeah. So when she came in that first verse, like, she's singing it with all her heart. And then and like the "Still I Love You," like, I'm like, okay, I get it now. So this is a song, did not like the demo, freaking love Candle Bright. All right, who wants to talk? Steven, do you like this?
Strongest one on the record. The last third is the best. The third,
yeah.
Will. And I think that they should have stuck with the title Nomad. I think it's a stronger title than Candle Bright.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's a different version of it with more Sheryl Crow backing on it that you might have heard on YouTube or whatever.
Sheryl Crow
Is the music exactly the same though?
I think so. You hear more Sheryl Crow from what I remember. Yeah.
They just boost her.
That da 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 at the end, and it's more or less the same. It's a different vocal, and Sheryl Crow has that different vocal too. It's an amazing song. I love the song.
Now, how do you all feel about Sheryl Crow? Because I do like Sheryl Crow. I'm a Sheryl Crow fan. I don't think she's like Stevie Nicks level, but I'll take me some Sheryl Crow. She has some damn good songs, and I think Tuesday Night Music Club and the second Sheryl Crow album are great albums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jim.
I wish she joined Fleetwood Mac when Christine left.
I know.
It was rumored at the time.
I think Lindsay vetoed that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She was trying to bring her in, and he didn't.
Yeah.
I think Sheryl Crow is Hall of Fame worthy. I think she's had a really good career. She wrote really good song, and she's a musician, a really good producer, and pretty good performer. But Stevie's that next level. So.
Yeah.
But I think Cheryl's definitely Hall of Fame worthy.
Her work on this album is just like, I wish they'd work together again.
Stevie herself produced a good number of tracks, and she played a lot of keyboards on this too, if you look through.
Right.
Stevie probably could a little indie band playing keyboards somewhere if she couldn't make it anywhere else. She couldn't sing. She's a fairly, her demos, you listen to her playing, it's very basic, but it brings you in.
Yeah.
But
it's authentic.
As a keyboard player, there's a lot on here that's really, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not that you couldn't find when Beaumont Tench was on here quite a bit, but she picked it up, and she has a way with keyboards herself. So, she snuck in there, and she's got more into doing her own records, collaborating with the producer and all that, and self-producing a little, and in playing on her own stuff. So, and I think this one has, I think her next two albums she does less of that. I think she probably did some production too on that, but we'll have to look into that. But this, she was well involved with this.
Yeah.
You know, being sober and being focused. You know, she was you know, like the ring. She was basically pretty much the ringleader of this album, I think, herself.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Ronnie, did you have your hand up?
Yeah. To back up what Jim was saying, she could have been like the Kate Pearson of Fleetwood Mac, you know, the B-52s, where she kind of plays the keyboard, but she doesn't. And I love this song. I think it grew on me. And
okay, I didn't even talk
Nomad, I've heard Nomad, but
Bless you.
bless you. Yeah, it's just that it's very like, what's the word, Jeremy? Like not serene, but
It's very
like,
earthy. I feel like it's a very earthy song.
yeah, like very calming,
Very
sensual,
textured.
going into the, okay, this is what I presented you in track one. Well, this is what the album is going to continue you through, you know?
Right.
Very earthy, like you said, you know, sedative.
I'm trying to think of like track twos for Stevie's albums. I guess, like, let me think.
Kind of Woman's a great one.
Kind of Woman was good.
Yep.
If Anyone Falls, is that the second song on Wild Heart?
Yep, that's the second one on that one.
Okay, so I feel like this
the
is
second one on Rock a Little is Rock a Little.
Rock a Little.
Yeah, which is to me the best song on the record, but
it's a strange song, but I like it.
I like that song.
Long Way to Go, Greta. So I think Stevie Nicks definitely served the 1-2 punch here. Song one, awesome. Song two, awesome. Anyone else want to talk about Candle Bright? Jim.
Yes, this is the first. It's kind of like she put 3 in a row about their old demos, and I heard these demos on the early internet days, and I loved them. I loved it. Well, Sorcerer was out with Marilyn Martin,
Sure.
And everybody kind of knew that, but that didn't really chart. She did a pretty good job with it.
It was originally going to be on the Buckingham Nicks album.
Right.
Old Buckingham Nicks demo.
Candle Bright and Sorcerer, old Buckingham Nicks stuff from the Coffee Plant. I listened to the Coffee Plant for like 45 minutes. You know, there was a lot of double versions, but that was some great material. That era with Rhiannon and these two right here and Landslide and oh my, this was like she was poor as can be basically, and she had a whole knapsack full of great songs already, a career breaking material already written.
Yeah.
And I consider this material as good as a lot of the early Eagles, mid Eagles period. She had chops as a writer, and she had, you know, she was a nobody in that era. And Planets is a Rumors era song, and I think it's really focused on Lindsay because the breaking up with Lindsay, you know, because that kind of sound, her reaction to Lindsay in the song just really matches up with it, and it was written in that period, so that's what it is. And I'm going back to Candle Bright. I really like that mandolin, mandolin right at the front. That's just great stuff. Great musically. It's very ethereal. It was
very modern sounding too. I think it sounded current at the time.
It's everything. It's old and new, all put together, and her vocal is terrific. She is the song on this. Just the vocal. She is the song. You know, with no shame being Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And well, that's about it. I'll go to the next person.
Let me just put out there that there's about to be a big thunderstorm outside, which Tampa is the lightning capital of the world. So if you guys lose me, I got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Which, you know, kind of is trouble in Shangri-La. The storm's coming, so this could be a moment here. Does anyone else want to talk about Candle Bright before we move on?
Yeah.
Alicia.
I mean, just curious, because she always, every time I listen to this, I wonder, she says, I'm going away for a while. Is she always talking about touring when she says that for this album? It almost seems like this is part of that getting in the limo.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it has such that kind of goth feel to it, or kind of a, I don't know how to explain it. There's a seriousness to it. What are you showing?
The weather?
I'm showing the Tampa radar.
Oh,
great.
It's coming.
Oh boy.
We have to, but yeah. So.
Oh, it's gonna miss you if you're downtown Tampa.
Alicia, I always wanted to ask you, because in the Belladonna review, which was fantastic, you referenced goth a few times, and I like goth music, and it's a genre I collect, but I've never considered Stevie Nicks in that genre, but you use that word a lot, so what am I missing?
Well,
she is.
I like classic literature, so I like to read. So if you start pulling up your classic lit, like Dickens with Miss Havisham, which Stevie is very much like Miss Havisham. She's very encapsulated in the 80s, late 70s, 80s. But if you pull up your classic lit, she uses a lot of the symbols, castles and birds and gardens and the things that she deals with, which is like the supernatural and all of that. It's really the material, her lyrics. And then if you, I like romantic era music, classical music, and that's from the 19th century. Think Tchaikovsky or the later period of Beethoven. And they tend to do a lot more minor music notes. So it's more dark and brewy, which is kind of the moodiness that she tends to pull out in her songs. It reminds me a lot of that time frame. And they were also like to do fantasy and that. So, I mean, to me, she's perfect if you were to drop her in like 1850. Because she's kind of pulling from that era, from Poe and the Bernays and everybody. So
she literally pulls from Poe.
Yeah, literally.
Don't get into that because I love it.
Yeah. So that's why I think goth. I think classically, not Marilyn Manson and Whiteface and
not 80s goth.
So not Sisters of Mercy, but Gothic literature.
Yes.
Oh my God. Awesome.
Sorry.
Oh, I love it.
No, I'm glad you illuminated me on that, because I was always wondering why you were making that reference. I'm like, I don't see it. What does she mean? What does she mean?
I think it's beautiful. Such a beautiful reference. Oh, Alicia, you're such a treasure.
Now I know what you mean.
So now you'll all pull out your classic lits and start reading, right?
Annabelle Lee Annabelle Lee was an outtake of Trouble in Shangri-La, wasn't it?
I know she said that she had it for like back in the 70s.
She had it from, yes.
Because you can hear the demo. She recorded it for Trouble in Shangri-La, and it didn't make the album. So if you go on YouTube, you can hear the version. I like what she did better on In Your Dreams, but it's skipping ahead. I love that album too. So watch out. You're going to get some enthusiastic Jeremy coming up. Okay. Track number 3. Many of us knew Sorcerer, the demo. So when I saw it's going to be on the album, I'm like, okay, what's she going to do here? Son of a bitch. When she hit that high note and Stevie sang a falsetto, she hit a note that we hadn't heard since Tusk. Like, when's the last time she hit a note like that? Like she did in Sorcerer. I actually probably like sat down. Like I heard, I'm like, oh shit. Like Stevie was singing it in a way that we hadn't heard it in ages. Ronnie.
Which note? All around?
Yeah. Which one are you talking about?
My luxury. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Like she hadn't hit a falsetto like that. When's the last time she went into that range? It certainly wasn't on Rock a Little.
It's Only Love.
Probably not Street Angel.
Not Street Angel.
It's Only Love.
She does it in It's Only Love. Like on this album, she discovered a part of her voice that we hadn't heard in years. even Belladonna, she doesn't hit those falsetto notes, does she?
Probably not.
No.
Maybe a little. I would think a little on Wild Heart, because Wild Heart, she really pushes herself vocally. She does some crazy stuff on that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ronnie.
Unpopular opinion, I don't care for the song. It grew on me over the years, and I thought it was a wasted song during her concerts. But I mean, it's okay. I love that Cheryl's in it. I love the video. I love the imagery, and yeah.
Jeremy, she looks beautiful in the video.
I have my Sorcerer promo single with the Sheryl Crow edit on it.
Nice. Jeremy, don't you think she looks beautiful in the video?
I think she's beautiful.
She does. She does.
Yeah,
it looks terrific in the video. I want to agree with Ronnie. I think this is it didn't turn out well in this album. I think this is an example of why Sheryl Crow isn't really a great choice as a producer. Okay. I think Sheryl Crow's who you go to if you want your song to just be a big hot mess of acoustic guitars and jangly stuff that's maybe too low in the mix, and so I don't like it. I think I think it's boring. And I think that the treatment that they gave to it that we heard on the Wild Heart demo was a lot better. If they would have stuck with that, then I'd probably have a different opinion on it. But
what do you think? What do you think of the original Buckingham Nicks? So your favorite is the Wild Heart version, Nathan?
Yes.
Your favorite take is that one over the Buckingham Nicks one?
It's been a while since I've heard the Buckingham Nicks one, but yeah, I think I like the Wild Heart one best.
My favorite is the Trouble in Shangri-La version. I love it. The falsetto.
But Chris, I can tell you what my least favorite one is, and it's the Trouble in Shangri-La version.
Yeah, I got that.
I like the Marilyn Martin version, and actually, if you see the movie, that's another different vocal on that.
Oh, okay,
it's not the same as the Marilyn Martin one on the soundtrack record.
Alicia, what do you think of Sorcerer?
I'm not a big fan of Cheryl harmonizing with Stevie. I like the song on the record, but because I'm not a big fan of Cheryl harmonizing, I actually like the live version that came out with Soundstage. I like this version. It's very cryptic, so you can kind of, until I heard the Wild Heart one a couple years ago, it really was, you can really make this to be about anybody. It's just so so open, I guess. There's it's very interesting when she started explaining that this was about her losing a record deal, because I never thought of that with these lyrics back in the 70s.
Doesn't the original demo have a banjo in it? Or am I imagining things?
Oh. Yes, it did.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they had already cut the demos, then got dropped?
Oh.
Maybe
in order for her to write the lyrics,
then they got dropped. I'm not quite sure. I just know she was talking about having a tough time when she was writing this song in the early 70s. You guys are probably much more, because I'm such the new fan. So
we all bring our. We all about her and Lindsay being in Los Angeles and how scary it was.
We love Roland. We're gonna do a coffee table book of Roland's frozen poses.
Somebody dispatch this Geek Squad to Roland's place.
I thought the song was about cocaine. Let me put you on ice.
Let me put you on ice. But then, with Alicia's theory, black ink darkness. What the hell does that mean?
I mean, it's a really interesting.
Black ink and then darkness, we were cut, from the contract or whatever. So that makes sense to me.
Well, it was written after the.
I thought it was like, when you're deep into addiction, the black ink darkness of
it. Yeah.
I read today that it was intended for the Fleetwood Mac White album, and they chose Rhiannon over, which was the better choice.
Yeah, they made a good choice. Good call. Yeah. Good call, Fleetwood Mac.
Alicia, I'm sorry. I think I cut you off, hon.
No. I saw Jim going. So I knew all of a sudden, I was like, uh-oh, did I say? But I remember her saying that somewhere in an interview. So now you're going to make me have to go look.
No, that at least that does sound familiar. I heard her say that somewhere too.
So it's somewhere in there because it's kind of, and when you start thinking your finery and all of that, it started kind of making some sense. But this is such an open-end song. And I find it interesting that she says Lady from the Mountains.
Right.
Yeah. Comes back on that.
Is that her? Doesn't she refer
Yeah.
to herself as a lady from the mountains?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
is she
okay.
closer to the Grand Canyon and the mountains there of Arizona?
Yeah, she lives in mountains, and she usually talks about like landslide. When she wrote that, she was in the mountains, and I thought she always calls herself the lady from the mountains, like one of her nicknames.
And it's in the Moonlight song as well.
Yep, the lady from the mountains are coming. She's coming back next album.
Mhm.
So
Cool, Jim.
Yeah, it's like I said just a while ago, it's one of that group of songs, a tremendous amount of songs, great songs, in my opinion, of you're getting dropped from a label and you have to up your game. And the motivation for Landslide, Rhiannon, and this is part of it too, is, well, I'm just going to write songs. I mean, that's what I am. I'm just a writer, and I don't care if I've been kicked out, and I might have to go back to school. I might have to be a teacher, but I'm just going. I'm very depressed, and a lot of great material. The song "Lady" is from that era too, and you read that. You read the lyrics from that is a lot of despair, just being totally emotionally, just completely blasted. And Stevie, when she gets depressed, she writes, and there's a tremendous amount of material that came from that era.
Yeah.
Where is Jess's check?
Oh, it's up there in the china cabinet.
China cabinet.
Yes, next to like the dog flea medicine and stuff.
All right. Any thoughts on Sorcerer before we move on? Yeah, Steven.
This was a snooze live.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I like
so
it on the album, but
disappointing.
live it went on and on and on and on.
Yeah, just you take out the falsetto and you lose the song, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with Nathan too with Sheryl Crow's production. There were some production issues that were starting to show up in this part of the CD. That's it. And I like it. I do like it though.
The song got boring after a while when she kept doing it and doing it and doing it during the 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the album version, but I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, it's Sorcerer live again.
Yes,
It's not
Roland.
that- it's not
I
that
never
impressive.
noticed on the live version she blows the falsetto part off. She skips it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she skips it. Yeah, she doesn't do it.
Boo.
I
That's the whole
noticed a
reason-
lot in this album too. Like, I don't feel like we're getting performances from her. Like, she's not singing the song in the studio and they're picking the performance that they like. They're taking little pieces and cutting it all together. And she tends to do this for the rest of her career, but it really started to be noticeable in this album, I think.
Alicia.
Well, since we're nitpicking, but you also start finding out, and I found this interesting, the first 4 songs are 5 minutes long, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I love Stevie. But you start thinking about like Candlebright, they could have maybe taken 30 seconds off for a minute. Same thing with Sorcerer, maybe 30 seconds. I mean, you start looking through. I know people complain about In Your Dreams that the songs are like long. We could have cut 2 minutes off of Annabelle Lee, but it does start showing.
Or Lady.
We could have cut 3 minutes off of Cheaper Than Free.
That's the best example.
Well, okay, so I'm dramatizing a little bit, but I know people say that some of the songs go on and on and on and on. So,
I do feel Sorcerer went on a little too long, but I need that final "Still I Love You" at the end of Candlebright. I need that. Ronnie.
Was this like when she started to scream? in the video, the songs,
The live
when she
version?
started, like scream. Was this the start of that or no?
She was already doing that, but she did a lot more in this album.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely sounds, there's a metallic quality to her vocals that people really pointed out at the time that I noticed more looking back. It's very distracting.
Yes.
But
Very
Can you,
distracting.
can you give me an example of that?
See, I loved her vocals on this album.
So did I. I
I'd
didn't
say
know them.
just about every song on this album sounds a little metallic.
Sorcerer.
Yeah, it's like they stripped all the bass out of her voice, and
Oh, I see.
it's very high end and tinty, and they put a little whisper effect on that to amplify that too.
So it's an EQ thing?
Yeah, it's production. Like, you could go back and remix it, I think, and really pull out the song a little better.
Was that a little bit of the production style of the time? Were other people doing that?
Possibly.
Production goes in trends a little bit. So I feel like, what was another album that was out around this time? 2001.
Face Sale had a big one, Breathe.
Yes.
And that was a similar kind of production, wasn't it? A little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any thoughts on Sorcerer before we move on? All right.
Just to point out, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ronnie. Go ahead.
Roland, were you talking? Just to point out, what I think I'm hearing is the metallic is where she all around. She kind of screams that. It's like, okay, nails on a chalkboard. But overall, it's a decent song. I'm glad she included it, but I could live without the live performance.
So Stevie's screaming in the studio. Let's skip ahead and talk about The Dealer from 24 Karat Gold. No, I'm just kidding. All right, back on track.
Planets.
Stevie Nicks has a new single, the first single from her upcoming album, Trouble in Shangri-La. It's called Planets of the Universe. And there was a sample online. I knew the demo of No Light. And so this is the first taste I got of the new album. This is the first, I don't know if it was a leak or if it was the first single that came out. But I remember hearing it. It was a modern sound. It was a song that I loved. There were new verses in it that she had written just for this version, I believe. And then the chorus and then the bridges were from the original demo. But I'm going to, damn, she nailed that shit. I think Planets in the Universe, I love the remixes. They're so 2001. I feel like I'm going to the club and everyone's on Molly and I'm the only one that's not. That's fine. But
right,
they did this song right. If you get the single, you have the full lyrics from the demo, which I think they made the right version. It was good to cut it down for the album because, as Alicia said, we already have 4 to 5 minute songs. So, Steven, you like the longer version from the single?
Yes.
Does everyone think it
Really
should
needs that little bit they cut out. That's the heart of the song.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really ties over this song and kind of puts it all together, I think.
She was definitely still feeling whatever she felt when she wrote it. I feel like she was still feeling that when she sang on this album. All right, what do you guys all think of Planets? Thumbs up.
Great song. And she did it live too, which was fantastic on stage.
How was it
But
live?
do it again.
She did it. It was part of the tour, yeah.
Really good.
But I have to say that the live version was not as impressive as the recorded one. I have to say, and she didn't sell it that strongly. But it's good. It's a great song on the album, at least.
Sounded good in the front row.
Oh,
Really
If you're in the front row, anything sounds good in the front row.
not cheaper than free.
What venue was that at?
What's that?
What venue? Where was that at?
I think Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
I'm not sure. Been a long time.
I think the song sounds dated, and I wonder,
Oh,
if
totally.
we were to take a poll of the room here, if people would say that Trouble in Shangri-La or Rock a Little, which one sounds more dated? I would argue that this one sounds more dated.
I think equal, just different eras.
That's the tough.
Good answer.
I think that the bridge here is among her stronger bridges. as bridges go.
Yeah, the remixes are definitely very dated. But like I said, it takes me back to that time and place, which I love. The highs, the lows, blah, blah, blah.
I want to hear the version that has the extra verse about Lindsay in it.
I bet it's on YouTube. If not, I can send it to you.
Track that down. I never bought that single. I wasn't aware that I wasn't generally a remix guy, but if I had known that that was in there, I would have bought it back then.
Jim, did you have your hand up?
Yes. This I really liked the demo. You know, it's very like, you know, she's playing this, and it's, you know, when Stevie records a demo, there's probably just basically someone pushing the tape and her playing, and it's very intimate, and the words in it. I think in the interview she took a lot of some of the angst out of it lyrically.
Right.
It's pointing at Lindsay, and that's what I love. Silver Springs and Dreams, and you know, that's about, you know, Lindsay, and this is too. And it's very pointed. That's what is like the, what do you call it, the mythology or the catharsis of Fleetwood Mac is Stevie's angst, you know, against Lindsay and vice versa. That's what sells the whole thing, or a huge amount of it. And that's what that, you know, the demo I really love. But this too, you know, on this record, I really like it too, in different ways. It's really, you know, it's high gloss production. That guitar intro reminds me of Rihanna.
Yeah.
Chord, it's just a very similar chord played right into it. And when I first heard that, that's just Rihanna, and it just reminds me of it. It's same chord or the tone, guitar tone, or the, you know, this, it just reminded me of that. And then it goes on, and it's just epic, and it goes all the way through, and, you know, like the club versions and stuff like that. And I'm glad it got exposure to, you know, that sort of thing. Like Madonna was, she would throw out good club mixes and stuff, and Stevie took a chance at that and got to #1. That's a great deal. That's really awesome.
You know, it's funny, the new lyrics she wrote that were supposed to not be so dark. We're just talking about a sea that has no shore, haunted by the same closed door. Like, to me, that's dark. Like, I think of dark places in my heart. Like, the people I'm angsty about, that sea has no shore. Like, it's just an endless angst that never ends. And, you know, damn. To come back to the song, how many years later? Was it 20 at that point? Write new verses that are just as good as what she wrote back in 76 or 77. This is definitely a home run, in my opinion. Ronnie.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that what Jim was saying about The Edge of 17, Waddy's not on this album at all that I think of, that I can remember.
Just like one track, I think I read.
Too Far from Texas, was he on that?
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, he's on that one.
Okay.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Anyway.
on Too Far from Texas, and I think Michael Campbell's on that track too.
What? Wait,
Anywho, this song is, I thought we were talking about Everyday at first, but now I'm caught up. So thank you for that. And I mean, it was like, you would hear it in a gay club like once every Friday night or whatever.
Yep.
That was it. And it's like, oh my God, it's Stevie Nicks. I have to fucking dance. And
it's Stevie
like
Nicks,
Jeremy,
no light.
I was the only one.
It's like the no light demo at a gay club. Did you ever think that was going to be your future? Like, when that was happening, I'm like, how is this happening? This is so cool.
Right. And the lyrics are so dark, and so it's one of her hate songs. And she comes through an interview recently that said the Fall from Grace was her hatred song. Well, this is right up there with it, you know. But she wrote this back in what, 1973, 74? And
76.
Yeah, so it's like those really driving home lyrics. It's very depressing, and it's very dark, but at times it's very empowering and uplifting.
Yeah.
And you know, I just remember this song, and I remember telling my friend, I mean, this is so deep. And he was like, yeah. He's a casual fan, but he likes the singles and stuff like that. But that's all I really had to add to it. I love the song.
So do we all agree are we agreeing again that we all like this song?
Yes, I love the poetry of the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it back when I used to have it on cassette. I used to have a bootleg cassette called Almanac.
Oh yeah.
I have that
It
too.
had like Nomad on it. This Forest of the Black Roses. Does anyone remember that song?
I remember
Forest
that.
of the
Yeah.
Black Roses.
I
They never
have it
released that, right?
on
No.
CD somewhere.
That's never become anything, right?
No.
No.
Now I'm looking.
Oh, you're right. It's not.
So I was a sucker for this record when I realized that she was using her old demos and we were finally going to get to hear them. I wasn't always satisfied with the result, but A for effort.
Mhm.
I have that Almanac on vinyl. I was looking for it, but I can't find it.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah. Steven.
Does anyone else think this could have been one of her legacy songs? I love the piano demos as well. And if she would have done something like how they did the slow piano version of Rhiannon, then into the full rock concert version, and kind of evolved.
That's how I
I
originally heard this song. This song is originally a piano demo of her all by herself.
Yeah.
It's chilling.
I found my Fleetwood Mac Almanac.
Nice.
vinyl. And just
What an interesting cover.
to be a
That has
collector's
nothing to
nerd-
do with Fleetwood Mac except the penguin.
Get the penguin, though. Bootlegs are like that. That's part of their charm.
To be a collector's nerd, there were two Planet Universe singles. There was the remixes, then there was a promo single that had a radio edit that was only available on the promo single. So for the collector nerds out there,
I love, Jeremy, that you have all this stuff.
my roommates don't. I drive them crazy. All right. Okay, moving on. Any thoughts on planets? Did I miss anybody? All right, next is Every Day, correct?
Yeah.
Now, wasn't Every Day the proper first single of the album?
Yes, it was the first single. Yes.
Yeah.
Stevie didn't write it. It's kind of like
No.
I think the record company wanted her to have a single.
Yeah.
It had a cool video. She looked nice. It was nice to have. This was very much like a radio song from like 2001.
Yeah.
I don't really have that much to say about it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's harmless. Roland.
I like the song. I like it more than If Love Could Change Your Mind.
You like this more than Maybe Love Will Change Your Mind?
Yes, I do. I do like it more than
Get
Love Could
off
Change Your
my
Mind.
podcast.
I think that it's a nice song. It's I think it charted in the adult contemporary in the 20s or so. Yeah.
Weren't they at it like a banquet table?
It's a very nice video
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yes.
It got a lot of VH1 airplay.
Yeah.
It was a typical adult contemporary,
Yes.
middle of the road. Don't ruffle any feathers. Keep it nice. Sheryl Crow, Faith Hill, Paula Cole, all that.
Yes.
Middle of the road, milk toast. Don't piss anybody off.
Can we
Or
do?
so.
Can we do
Very
a?
safe. Very safe.
Can we do a tiny deviation? May I have her permission? Do you guys group Natalie Merchant in with all the Paula Coles, or do you think she's something separate? Or does nobody?
She's separate.
I fucking love Natalie Merchant.
She's
I
separate, Jeremy.
Okay.
Don't
You
forget
love
about
Carnival?
Apple and
Yes.
I love Carnival. Carnival's amazing.
Miss
Great.
Merchant's my girl. But okay, back to Stevie Nicks. Yeah, I don't have much to say about Every Day. It was so like VH. It's just you know what I have to say? VH1. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
That
VH1.
sums it up.
Ronnie.
I think she did it live, Roland. It's in the set list,
It
right?
was part of her
It's
song.
in the set list.
4 minutes, did she not?
And she did it live on Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
What's worse is doing it in front of paying customers.
Who?
I like the song.
Roland, I'm with you with that. I like the song.
It's a nice, pleasant song.
It's very middle of the road, like everybody else has saying, but it was a safe. It was a
Yeah,
safe
it's a safe. Yeah.
number one single, or not number one single, but a lead single, and I love the video, and I love the commentary with her talking about it. And she did ruffle a lot of feathers in that commentary.
She did like doing the video.
Where's the commentary on her video?
Yeah.
It's on the Crystal Visions.
Okay, the video,
The
version,
DVD version.
Oh, the extras.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very visual, and she talks about how the producer wanted her to get in the fucking fountain with the swans, and she's like, fuck that, no. Sorry to use the language.
I must admit, in black, she looks incredibly beautiful.
It's great.
She is. She's beautiful. She always has been. And I love the song.
Yeah.
And it's just middle of the road. It's okay.
You know,
I think I like Maybe Love a little bit better, but it's in that genre. That whole cover genre.
I think after the first 4 songs, all being pretty intense, this was a good palate cleanser.
Yes.
A nice, little adult contemporary, smooth. No, smooth's not a good word.
Absolutely, Jeremy.
I don't know.
That makes
Jim.
sense.
Yes, that's kind of frustrating in her later career that she puts out these safe singles, and you don't get the nuances of her voice, basically, because there's a lot of stuff, examples on this album that Stevie wraps around, she would write something, and then she would have people help her, or she would just do it and write the music herself, and wrap her voice on vocals that made it very musical. And there's really none of this here. It's just a song she sings out, every day, I need you and all that. It's, it's about relationships as usual. And then you got, going forward, like the lead singles aren't really showcases her nuances in her voice that kind of make her Stevie, which like the hardcore fans really love. I mean, her deep stuff is better than after whatnot, or after Stand Back even. Her better nuanced stuff is stuff that's no one's ever heard. Mm-hmm. And I guess the record company just wanted to put something out kind of safe and accessible.
Now, Nathan or Steven, have you guys said what you think of this song? I'm just curious. You don't care? Steven doesn't care.
Yeah, I had nothing to say on this. It's all right.
Nathan, any opinion?
Weakest song on the album. I'm sorry. I'm going to make a point to say something positive if next time.
You went off on this last time.
But what time?
Last time we were on the podcast, you went off on this song about how mundane it was and how filler it was. You had a lot to say.
All right, I think Ronnie had his hand up, and then Jim.
Okay.
Oh, you're good, Ronnie? Okay, Jim.
No, I didn't have my hand up, but I think it is kind of filler.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I don't mind
but
that.
It is what it is. I agree with what Jim said about being, the softer side.
In the video, it almost looks like the bottom of Stevie's dress. It's reaching over these rocks. It's kind of creepy, weird, and funky, wild. And it's a weird effect. And I don't know, everybody's seen it. And it's like, I never had it explained. It's really surreal. It's kind of cool, creepy, weird. And
I never understood the men in trees concept.
I think that's a video. It's
awesome. You don't
video era.
She's paying tribute to Carly Simon's Boys in the Trees album.
Very meta.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay. So every day. Oh, Jim, go ahead.
Yes. And the thing, she sounds quite a bit goaty on her vocal. I mean, I wonder if, I'm not slamming Stevie, but, what if someone else did sing this? Would have been a little bit more of a charting thing? I don't know.
I think the song was destined to be bland.
Okay.
That's a good word for it.
I feel like this was the unconditional love of the album.
Be better for somebody else, to Jim's point. Faith Hill doing this with a little upbeat, take one little chord and change it somehow so it's a little more country.
You think it's a favor?
No.
Unconditional Love.
Oh, I love
Really?
Unconditional Love.
I do too.
So you love this song then?
All
I
right,
remember.
Speaking of country, that moves us on to the next song, which was written by the same person that wrote Maybe Love Will Change Your Mind, correct? Sandy Stewart shows back up.
Yeah.
And we have
Sandy's back.
a duet with Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks.
The chick.
The song's called Too Far from Texas, and that's all I gotta say.
I love the song. Love the song.
Who loves this song?
Me.
I love it.
I do
I
too.
love the song.
Okay.
I do too. I know people hate it. I love it. I think it's one of the best songs on the record.
I think she
And
did on
everybody hates
stage too. I think she did on stage too, but she might have dropped it for the later shows.
Yep. When I saw her, she
remember
did it.
seeing her. Did you go to Great Woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Great Woods. The 2 nights.
Yeah.
She did 2 nights there.
Yeah. She traditionally does 2 nights at Great Woods, but I thought you lived in Toronto.
No, I go to Great Woods a lot. No,
So
I went to
meeting-
Great Woods to see that, and I saw it in Toronto too. I go a lot. I'm a groupie. I'm a deadhead groupie.
Ronnie.
Where is Great Woods? Is that in Michigan?
Massachusetts.
It's kind of near.
Yeah.
Okay,
Near
thank you.
She's been playing 2 nights there forever, and also when Fleetwood Mac plays, they're a 2-night band in this area for whatever reason. They're huge in Boston for some reason.
Next tour,
One
we're
year
all
she
flying.
started going off about Boston. She's like, you know what I'm going to do? She goes, I'm going to buy a place here. I'm going to move here. Were you at that show? She always goes off on Boston. She gets a little wacky. She goes, I'm going to buy one of those little brownstone condos right down the street, a couple blocks from here. She goes, I think it'll be cool. I think I fit in here in Boston. I love Boston.
I mean,
That Fleetwood Mac stayed there at some seminal point, some important 2-week period, I think, or something in the 70s when they were doing, one of those. I don't remember exactly what it was, but somebody else can maybe reinforce that with some fact. But there was a couple-week period, maybe it was even a couple longer than that, in the mid or late 70s when Fleetwood Mac as a band, or they were somehow stationed there. So it became the setting for some shit that you get the idea. So I think that's part of the reason why,
Yeah, she has some crazy
loving on Boston
affection to this city.
And I noticed Waddy Wachtel and Mike Campbell on this song.
Boy, there's a lot of heavy hitters on this song. Ronnie.
oh no, I just wanted to say that I can detect Chris's accent now.
Oh.
I travel for a living.
I'm
so
not proud of
be
that.
offended.
I'm not proud of that. I wish I was. I'm covering it up better. That's
Well,
not cool.
no, don't be offended, please, sir. It's not meant for offense.
Everyone be yourselves.
Absolutely, thank you, sir.
I just watched Making a Murderer on Netflix, 20 episodes in 2 days. I laid in bed, and I feel like I have a Wisconsin accent now.
The water? You drink the water?
What?
Okay, I don't really have Too Far from Texas. It's another palate cleanser to me. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't change the CD. It's okay. It's a nice. I like Sandy Stewart, so I'm a Sandy Stewart fan.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have anything on this song, Jim?
Yes, I wrote in my notes. Seemed to be a forced together song, trying to fit many parts together in an unnatural way. I mean, that kind of sums it up for me. You know the Dixie Chick song Earl.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dark, and I think it's about taking a guy out and murdering him and burying him.
Speaking of taking a murder.
But hey, I would love to have Stevie and Natalie kind of work together and write something that's, just doing away with a man or something, or just something angry, have some shared experience, get down to writing something epic. This is just something that's kind of thrown together. It's got a good crew on it. It's got, I think it's got a lot of heartbreakers and a Waddy, and it was a missed opportunity. I thought of getting Natalie on board, and
What a waste of Waddy.
if they could have had something a little bit, playful and a little bit mean, and that would have been a great thing. Because the appeal of the Dixie Chicks is there's a little bit of darkness and a little bit of playfulness in their work.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why they were popular.
Alicia, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, this is probably one of the songs in her catalog I can't listen to, but it has a lot to do with the fact that Stevie can get somewhat goaty, but then when you put her with Natalie Maines, who also has a really strong Southern
That part.
twangy sound, it almost brings out Stevie's goatiness much more. And so I can't listen to this song because it's just like,
Forced to get.
yeah, it's just too much. It's almost, oh, you have another current country singer, and I'll think of the name later. And I can't listen to her because she also has that really strong twangy sound. Miranda Lambert is the,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And they're good singers. It's just they have such a strong twang to them. But I remember hearing somewhere or reading somewhere that this was kind of the deal was that Dixie Chicks were able to cover Landslide on their album Home if they would return the favor. And I think that was what this was. Natalie Maines singing with Stevie. And to me, they could have done something much more. I agree with Jim with a song.
I think she did her many favors with this one.
Yeah. So to me, the song is mediocre. It's kind of like Every Day, Too Far, That Made Me Stronger, and I Miss You are probably the 4 weakest songs, but I can actually listen to I Miss You and Every Day. And they do slip in, and I do enjoy them somewhat. But this one, I can't listen to it at all.
Now, first of all, I love that Goldie has become a common adjective on this podcast. I love it.
Goldie?
No, Goldie. When your voice gets...
Oh, yeah, Goldie.
I think that came in on I Sing for the Things on Rock a Little because I'm like, woof. Yeah, I felt like Every Day was a palate cleanser. I don't think we needed 2 palate cleansers in a row, though. And shouldn't I wait one more day? Ronnie.
This is I actually love the song, and I hear what Jim and Alicia's saying about the goatiness. I hear it now. But this whole album, and then she talks about something about traveling later and I Miss You. And then of course the first song where she's just traveling.
Sure.
It sounds like she's on a journey. And this continues with that journey. Excuse me. I agree with Jim's point that it was a missed opportunity. That, hey, we have 2 great songwriters. We have 2 great musicians.
Yeah.
Why didn't they write something together instead of this? But I love Sandy Stewart, and I like her. I like the fact that she's reconnected with Stevie at this point.
From the woman who brought you Cat Dancer. We have Too Far from Texas.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anything else to say about this song? Next.
Yeah, I wanted to add one thing.
Yes.
It's a little vocal effect that she uses, and I was once taught in school what it is, but I don't remember the technical term for it. So I'm just going to use cracking. But she does it in this song a couple times. And I can't remember anywhere else in her whole catalog that she's ever done that.
What line? On which line? Do you remember?
Shouldn't I wait?
No.
Be like, nope, you shouldn't.
No, it's like she does this trick where she gets her voice to crack. Now, today, what they do is they manipulate that digitally.
Sure.
But when this was recorded, that's not digital. She's doing that on purpose.
Right.
She gets her voice to crack. Yeah, it's Stevie.
Is it Stevie or is it
I'm pretty sure it's
Stevie versus Natalie?
It's Stevie's lead vocal.
Right.
I should have written the words down. She does it a couple times. And I thought that was cool because she doesn't do that on any record, any song that I've ever heard. Unless I'm missing something.
In a room just outside of Houston?
No,
That's Natalie, I believe.
Yeah, no, it would be the Stevie part.
Okay, sorry. I'll
She
I
does
can
these
find
little things where she gets her voice to.
You know, we'll all hear it next time we listen to the
I
album.
say crack. It's not the proper word, but it makes this little inflection that sounds a little odd. And today they would manipulate that digitally, but she's doing it real.
Is there any Christine McVie fans in this podcast? Because I loved her In the Meantime album, and I remember the first time I heard that, there were some things that she did with her voice that she had never done before. We're totally doing a podcast on that album someday because I freaking love it. Okay.
that, Jeremy. I'm there for it.
Great album.
Oh my God. Christine McVie. Okay.
Oh,
So Stevie Nicks is at a diner with Tom Petty, and she's
yeah.
depressed about Street Angel. She's feeling terrible. And Tom Petty tells her, Stevie, you're a songwriter. Go write your own songs. And from that fabled conversation, we get one really good song and one really bad song. And the really bad song is the one that Stevie chose to put on Trouble in Shangri-La. Now, that's just my opinion. Is there anyone that likes that Made Me Stronger in this podcast?
Not my favorite.
I have struggles with the chorus because I heard her tell the story. It was too literal
Yeah.
from what he said to her, and then trying to make that a chorus. To me, it just seemed forced.
For some reason, the chorus sounds like Jay Giles' band to me.
Yes, the jangly kind of guitars. Yes.
And then they had like the classic Sheryl Crow like loop in the verses, like that every VH1 Lilith Fair had in their songs back then.
You know, it's sister's song. Hard Advice is better.
Hard Advice is
Yes.
so good.
Jumping ahead though. Yeah.
The thing is, like, Hard Advice is so good.
Yeah.
That Made Me Stronger is so.
Go buy that ball.
I love this record, but by the time I get to That Made Me Stronger, I skip to Miss You. I
It's like
skip this one, and the next song to I Miss You.
We have two bad.
The album dips down for me.
We have two like we have four great opening songs,
Yeah.
two like songs, and then a bad song. So it's like, all right, girl, where are we going with this?
Yeah. Love the record as a whole, but these three, I could skip these.
I don't hate it.
Yep, they go.
Okay. I don't hate it either, but it's just that
Yeah,
it's not my favorite from.
I didn't get up and change the CD. Like I played it. Go ahead, Ronnie.
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm
listening.
I have nothing to say.
Well, this is I Miss You, the next song. No, it's not.
No, it's after Love Changes.
That Made Me Stronger and I Miss You are like, I Miss You, it's a good song, but it's kind of like a throwaway. Both of them are for me. Those are my top two. That it would be a complete album without those two songs.
Without I Miss You and what?
That Made Me Stronger.
Go write this for me. He says, no, go write your songs yourself. So she did. She went home and wrote about that conversation.
And of
But it's
course,
too literal, though. When she gave the interviews, it's literally what he said. It's like, at least her interpretation, it's like you couldn't dress it up a little. I don't know.
Right.
That was my thing with her. When I heard that story and then I heard the lyrics, I'm like, oh, but it's too easy. You're repeating what he said.
Do you know what, though? I'm going to take one for the team here. If having to endure this song was the genesis of everything that came out, like that conversation basically caused this whole comeback that I think started with the dance and all that. If the price we have to pay for all we've gotten from that is this song, I'll take it.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Like, give me the fucking song. You know what, Stevie? If this is what made you stronger, count me in. I'll take it.
just one comment on this, not to correct a record or anything, but Jeremy, you said at a diner. I think that actually happened. I like, Stevie tourism a little bit. And I think this actually happened at the Phoenix. Which hotel was it, you guys? Was it the Ritz-Carlton?
Oh, okay.
Or the
Yes.
Biltmore? It was the Biltmore, you sure? And so they had dinner there, and I think it was in 1995 someone could probably point out the month. I don't usually know that.
Oh my God! Don't you guys want to go have dinner at the Hard Advice table?
Was he in town doing a show? Because he toured the Wildflowers in that year.
I believe that's correct. But for those who like the sightseeing aspect of it, if you want to go get your own at Steak Oscar at the Phoenix Ritz-Carlton, you can.
I so would. I'd be like, I'm at the That Made Me Stronger table. Give me a drink. Rolling.
Mind you, she did not write the music. It was Scotty Crago and Timothy somebody. So if you can blame them if you don't like the music.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll forward my letter there then. Perfect, because I don't. Was Scotty Crago the drummer?
Yeah. He was from the Time Space era tours, I think.
Cool. Well,
from the drummer who brought you Love's a Hard Game to Play. All right. I have nothing else to say about this song. Oh, Jim.
Yes, I think it's got cool music. It's it's a kind of a what I wrote my notes. I think it's got clunky lyrics, but it's heartfelt. It's she puts her heart into this, but it's like a diary entry put to music that doesn't quite work. That's what I wrote. I mean, that's kind of sums it up for me.
That sums it
up.
Damn. Alicia.
When I was saying long songs, this is one of those songs where I feel like you could really take off a minute because she was just repeating That Made Me Stronger when I was listening to it the last couple of days. This is one that really repeats itself at the end. But
I would venture to say she could take off 4 minutes and 32 seconds. No.
Well, she can that too. It's not my favorite either, but
it definitely can be shortened down. I'm being too off the chain. I need to calm down, don't I? There goes my subscribers. Okay.
Jeremy, where do I find the companion piece, the better track that she wrote of this incident? Where do I find Hard Advice?
24 Karat Gold, her last album.
It's on there?
Yep. And the thing is, we knew the song existed because she registered it in her either BMI or ASCAP. So we knew the song Hard Advice existed, but the demo never leaked, so we never heard it till 24 Karat Gold.
But you think it was recorded at the same time during these sessions?
It was demoed at the time. It was written then, but it wasn't recorded till 2014.
Don't buy that doll.
All right. I'm going to tell you guys 4 reasons why Hard Advice kicks ass, and I don't care that we're skipping ahead. Waddy's guitar. The coda at the end. The lyrics. The feeling. Like, it's like, I don't know. Hard Advice, I put up there, like, top level Stevie. I don't know how this garbage made Trouble in Shangri-La.
Good vocal performance on it, too.
Yes. Yeah. Don't buy that. Oh, my God. So freaking good. And then, you know what else? The drummer, like that drums at the end. Stevie's 24 Karat Gold had its damn moments.
Oh, and that bridge part where she goes, what the fuck?
Out of the CD store.
Yeah, so like that.
So, Chris, we're giving you assignments after this podcast. You have to go listen to the full-length Planets of the Universe and email us and tell us what you think. And then we want to know what you think of Hard Advice.
I know. I got to find that particular Planets, right?
Yeah.
6 minutes, Lindsey Buckingham included verse.
I'll find it and email it to you.
Oh, okay.
Can you copy me, please?
I've never heard that version.
Thank you. Because I've never heard that either. And I don't think that
I've never heard that verse.
I'm skeptical that there's any such thing. I think a whole missing verse that I never heard. See,
she hits a really low note on that, like.
Jeremy, that's on that one of the discs you showed where it has the 6 remixes on it, right?
Yep.
Planet's maxi single.
Yep.
Jeremy, just copy all of us because I think I've heard it, but I'm not sure. But I'd love
the extended album version.
I'd love you even more if you copied all of us.
Well, is that possible to love me any more than you guys already do?
No.
I think it is.
Okay, does everybody want to be in that thread?
I have
I
it.
do.
I have it. I have it already.
Okay. Okay. Do you guys need a break or can we keep trucking along? How's everyone? Do we need a bathroom break?
Yes. Let's go. Yes.
Okay, we're going to pause for a second.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, to Phonogenics 101. Subscribe to my Patreon. Subscribe to YouTube. We are here talking about Stevie Nicks' major comeback in 2001. We're all so excited because, we were a little worried about our girl, and she just knocked us all on our feet, except for the last 3 songs we talked about. But things are about to get good again in a little bit. So the next song on the album kind of sounds like, it has a little bit of that keyboard from Crystal in there, some acoustic guitar, but it's a song that Sheryl Crow wrote for Stevie Nicks to sing. Sheryl Crow did a version of the song on her Come On, Come On album, correct? I believe. Even though Stevie didn't write the song, I actually do love It's Only Love. Just the feel of it. It's a very intimate song. The lyrics are not Stevie Nicks level. They're definitely Sheryl Crow level. But I like it. I think it's, kind of sucked me back into the album after that made me stronger.
Yes.
She really did write the song for Stevie Nicks, and it works. I like this one. Okay, let's go around the circle. Roland, you have your hand up.
It's an okay song. Actually, Sheryl Crow did her own version on her own record. Have you guys heard that?
Yes.
It's more overly produced. It's not acoustic. You guys know that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like Stevie.
And also, in return, Stevie wrote a song for Sheryl called "You're Not the One."
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys heard that one?
Yep.
I like that one better than I actually like that better than it's the one we're talking about. It's very Stevie, very witchy.
All right, what does everyone else think of It's Only Love?
I love it. Even despite the fact that Sheryl Crow wrote it, if we can pretend that never happened, I still love the song. I think Stevie's delivery on it's fantastic. It reminds me of old school 70s Fleetwood Mac. The arrangement's very sparse. It's almost like she's singing to you in your kitchen. Her voice is very up front in the mix. You can hear it with great clarity.
The falsetto.
I absolutely adore her performance on this track. I would dare to say on this whole album, it might be my favorite vocal track because it's so raw. There's no sugary production. It's just her voice, and it shows you how great a singer she is, despite the fact she didn't write it.
Sometimes lonely is not only a word, but faces I've known. Like this is a Stevie Nicks song. It really is a Stevie.
Yeah,
Nicks
she
song.
owns it. She owns it.
Steven, I saw your hand up.
Well, I was just going to say it's the best vocal on the album.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But you beat me to it. Yeah, it's great.
It really shows the kindred spirits that, the friendship and the love of Sheryl Crow and Stevie Nicks. Roland. Oh, are we frozen again?
I like the nod to Sarah. I think I met my match again. The first line.
Oh, I never even thought of that. Well, shit.
Yeah, very Sarah-esque.
Ronnie.
Passing around the candlelight. I mean, it goes back to the very first beginning of the album, Candlebright. Yep. I think I met my match again, blah, blah, blah. It's very simple. It's very heartfelt. And you're correct, Jeremy. It's very Sheryl Crow-esque in the writing. But, it's just, I mean, I love the tempo. I love the melody. And, I think it fits really well on the album.
I think it did have to be on this album. Like this album, I love this song.
Yeah.
I think
it's a great song. It could have done well on the country charts.
Now, when's the last time Stevie...
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't release it.
Yeah.
Like he said, that could have totally gotten radio play on a certain type of station.
But I also think that Too Far From Texas could have done really well on the country charts as well.
I completely agree. I can't believe they didn't release that.
Yeah.
Was this before or after Nellie Maines was shamed by George Bush?
Before.
This is before. This is before.
Before?
This is before.
I think Too Far From Texas and this song could have done really well. On
Yeah, good point. I don't understand why they could have got more sales out of this record had they gone that route with both those songs. I totally agree with Ronnie. Those songs should have been released.
Now, I feel like It's Only Love is such an intimate, stripped down performance. When's the last time Stevie served us something like that? I mean, I think of something like Storms. Of course, the song isn't on the level of Storms.
Lady.
Garbo.
Lady? What about Lady?
That was just a demo, though. That wasn't officially out yet, was it?
Garbo.
The sound of the guitar, too, the acoustic guitar, they recorded it beautifully. I mean, you can really hear the wood resonate. You can hear her voice. I mean, the recording that they got is spectacular. It's a shame, like Ronnie said, that people didn't get to hear it. It could have been a big song for her.
Right. I think Stevie achieved the same kind of intimacy on For What It's Worth on the next album, in my opinion. Just really, she wrote that one, but
yeah.
Just these heartfelt, like straight from the heart songs. Alicia, what do you think of this one? I'm curious.
I love this song.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find that Sheryl Crow wrote this song because she really did write like Stevie did for this song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it does go back to Candle Bright with the passing around the firelight. To me, it also, since we're going through her catalog, there's songs like Rose Garden where she's having to come to terms that she's not married. And I know I said in another podcast, her being a star and her having a family kind of conflicted. And to me, this is the song where she's made peace with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's like, if it comes around again, that'll be great. But it really does resonate. It's just a fantastic, and then it goes with the whole Trouble in Shangri-La, I think. These are different problems and issues in people's world, in lives. So it's interesting when you start going through each one of these songs, because I was realizing that as I was listening to this album this weekend. This really was a well-crafted record. While I may not like some of the songs that we just went through, but this is a keeper.
Absolutely.
This brought to mind two things. Number one, when you said that this song kind of signifies Stevie coming to peace, I feel this whole era was so successful because she came to peace with her legacy and with where she was at in her life and her career, being a little bit of an elder mentor role. And I just think the song and the whole era were like that. And the second thing is I'm going to have to retract my statement where I said these are Sheryl Crow level lyrics, not Stevie. That's not a right thing to say. I think this is Stevie Nicks level stuff. And I think Sheryl Crow can get there sometimes.
If I didn't know that Sheryl Crow wrote the song, I would have assumed Stevie had. It doesn't sound like that she couldn't have written those words.
Bingo.
Particularly the way she sells the delivery.
Yeah.
Like when I first played the CD, I wasn't reading the credits.
Sure.
So when I played the CD and I heard that song, I was like, oh my God, Stevie's back. That's genius. That shows her voice, which has been so layered over for so many years. It's just her raw. And it still shows you how much power and emotion she still has in that voice.
I'd love if she did
that. She's not done yet,
Ronnie, I saw your hand.
Well, and I feel the same. I mean, if I hadn't looked at the credits, I would have thought, well, this is on the lines of Crystal or Landslide, or it's very simple. It's very melodic, or whatever the word is. It's very simple and heartfelt. And so I agree with Jeremy originally when you said that it's very Sheryl Crow. I mean, I get it because it is Sheryl Crow, but yeah, that's, if I hadn't looked at the lyrics or the writer credits, I wouldn't have known.
I guess I'll say this is Sheryl Crow at the top of her damn game, for sure.
She was very channeling Stevie and all the other artists around her at that time.
Without it being,
I think her game was raised by the fact that she's working with such a legend, right, that she worships herself. That she knows is the real deal,
and that can go really wrong sometimes.
Also, I think that she was going through that whole terrifying Lance Armstrong thing, and she just wrote out whatever she was feeling.
And
I
then
don't know what that was all
Stevie
about. But it was
guested on her Stevie. Sorry. And then Stevie guested on Cheryl's "Come On, Come On" album. She was on the song "Come On, Come On,"
Right.
and she did a couple of TV appearances doing "Come On, Come On."
Yep. Yep.
I think I may have come off wrong. I'm definitely a Sheryl Crow fan. Like I have all her albums. I do love her. So if anything I said makes it seem like I'm not, I love her. I saw her in concert. She has some great songs.
No, you're fine, Jeremy.
I think I know what you mean, Jeremy. She's just not on the same level.
Yeah, but Stevie's like a legend, like
Right.
capital L. Capital
Right.
L. Nathan, what do you think of this song?
I think it's fine. I haven't really thought of this album in terms of each song one by one and how they all fit together as a whole. And as I'm doing that now, this one is no exception to any of the others in that they all just kind of hang really well together. Even the ones that are kind of a little more electronic-y and that I said earlier are overproduced, like Planets of the Universe and Trouble and the title track.
Right.
Even those two, they kind of hang well together.
Yeah.
And then Love Changes, I think, is the next one,
Right.
which is maybe a third one. So there's a third piece to that. Whatever. So It's Only Love is okay. It's okay for me. Scale of 1 to 10, I give it, about a 6.
Cool. Any other thoughts on this song before we move on? Jim.
Yeah, so everybody pretty much filled in what I was going to say. Cheryl pretty much channeled Stevie on this, and Cheryl wrote it for herself, but it's kind of, and then she may have said, "Hey, here's Stevie." I think in an interview or something I read recently, it's kind of like Cheryl kind of intentionally. They were together for quite a while and got to know each other, and Cheryl wrote this basically for Stevie, but Cheryl probably can. Well, like someone said, she has this on her album, so it's good for both. It's very Stevie, the imagery and everything, and it's a pretty good song. It's an interlude. It kind of flows with the album. It's a good song.
Ronnie.
Jeremy, I know we want to get past this song, what was the other song? Somebody Stand By Me?
Yep. From Boys on the Side.
Yeah. This song pales in comparison of whatever she was screaming, and then she put it on the Enchanted box set for God only knows why. Somebody Stand By Me. She was screaming that whole song. I just wanted to include that because
Sheryl Crow wrote that one too, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty. Yeah.
So Cheryl, you've come a long way from Somebody Stand By Me to It's Only Love.
That was made for a soundtrack, right?
Boys on the Side.
Boys on the Side, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. I mean, I don't know everybody else's opinion. I don't know if we have time to discuss that, but I just think it's a horrible song.
I think Somebody Stand By Me is right up there next to God's Garden.
I think it's good.
Did anybody actually see that movie? I was
Hell no.
wondering whether it was a showcase
Absolutely.
properly. Yes?
Was it showcased
Yes.
properly?
Yeah, was it played in a good part of the movie, or not even in the movie, or 2 seconds of it? Has anyone seen that movie?
Yeah, I don't even think it was in the movie.
Of course.
No, I don't think it was in the movie at all. It was all female
go.
artists, which I remember from the
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Didn't Bonnie
Yeah,
Raitt
yeah, I
have
have
a cover song that was the single from that soundtrack?
You got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Mhm.
Oh.
By Roy Orbison?
That was in the movie.
That
Yeah.
song?
Yeah, she covered it for that. Which I love Bonnie Raitt, but I could have done without her cover of You Got It.
Jeremy, I'm leaving.
You gotta admit that wasn't Bonnie Raitt at her best. I always love Bonnie Raitt because she always when she plays that slide guitar, she looks out the corner of her eye I'm badass. She has that look in her eye. Okay. Any thoughts on what's the song? It's Only Love before we move on? All right, we hear the crashing of waves. We hear a drum machine. We hear Stevie playing the keyboard a little off tempo. Love Changes. You know, I actually love this. Didn't Stevie Nicks actually produce this? Like, I feel like this track was produced by Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
I love this
David
song.
Kane.
Yeah, David Kane, whoever he is.
Oh, he was the producer? Okay.
Stevie Nicks is
There's a
Bombay
picture of him in the
Sapphires.
CD booklet.
I actually love the lyrics of the song. To me, this was like a little bit of a rock a little moment with that synthesizer kind of 80s thing going on. I think the lyrics are wonderful. I do. Love's left me burning by the side of the road a few times in my life. You're standing there, you've got nothing to hold. I don't know. I think it's a catchy song. To me, I kind of think of it as like If I Were You. I love it. It's just like kind of a breezy, like you can sing along to it. It's got the drum beat from the drum machine. How do you guys feel about this song?
Breezy is right because you got those ocean waves for some reason at the beginning.
Yep. You got the Hawaiian guitar straight out of the If You Were My Love Street Angel demo.
And not my favorite. I skipped this one, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, not my favorite. I skip it to I Missed You, which I really do like.
Does anyone else love Changes besides me? Because I love it.
I love it.
Okay, everyone that loves it, let's go one by one. Alicia, I saw you first.
I love it because it's a good rock tune. Hearing the last stretch, I think she really just stacked it kind of like at the beginning. I mean, and this is where it starts.
This is where it starts.
He's like, yes, this is where it starts. But I love it. I love the people burning by the side of the road, changes in a flash of an eye. I think it's just great lyrics. And it's a fun song to sing along to. And it's that rock song that you go, okay, she's really, really back. You know, this one in Fall from Grace, it's just like, okay.
How many things in your life don't mend the sorrow or reinvent the pleasure? Like, I can really... Oh, God, I'm going through something right now. I'm like, shit. And when there's a conflict, I stay clear. Oh, my God. This is like I don't know. This is where the album starts to pick up. I love It's Only Love, but then, like, we start to, like, get into this home stretch. And I'm not going to make a secret. I think the album ends just as strong as it starts. So I think we're about to get into some really good shit here. Some really good shit. Okay, who else loves this song? Jim.
Yes, I like the vocals on this. It's I think it's something that was fun to do, and it's got some funky riffs, and it's a lot of little tongue in cheek stuff. You know, burning side of the road, metaphors and things like that.
Yeah.
My wife really loved this song when it came out. I remember her really, you know, like, you better watch yourself. You'd be burning the side of the road.
Did anyone notice that because Stevie's clearly playing the keyboard on this. Did anyone notice like one of the first ones like a little bit off beat?
There's a little.
Which, you know, bless her heart. That's great. Any other thoughts on Nathan?
It does take keyboards by Stevie Nicks on his song in the credits.
Yep, you can hear it.
On this album that she's played here and there.
All right, Steven, I saw your hand up.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like a demo.
It does.
Yeah.
The production is not there on this song. There's a good song in there, but they didn't hit it. It's kind of embarrassing, I think.
Oh.
See, I love that about it. I think it's totally like, what's the word?
Unpolished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sloppy mix too on the vocals. Very
Just
sloppy.
awkward for everyone.
Sorry.
I think it, again, I would say that it, I like it, Stephen Larner, so we're on opposite sides of the fence on this one.
I'm Team Nathan on this one. Thank you very much.
All right, that's fine.
And
They can heckle me.
It's again, I think it just hangs really well with the rest of the album. You know, I remember somebody earlier was talking about earthy songs in the beginning, and now the waves are crashing, and Bombay Sapphires is coming up. So now it's sort of an ocean type of a thing, which you heard a lot about references to like a Mother Earth type of a thing, I think, in articles at the time that you didn't really hear before, and I don't think have heard as much since.
Sure.
So that's what I like about this song, and it is, and that's what I have to say.
All right. Any other thoughts on Love Changes? Ronnie.
I love it. And, I agree with Steven. It's very unpolished. And I think it fits right in there. It's kind of like one of these albums that there's no end to the last song. It just goes into the next song. So it's a perfect connection. And then, she's talking about these lyrics about, I can't find them now, but whatever. I know, right? She's talking about like when there's a conflict, I stay clear.
19.
So what I felt was a sister song to this, and if you all remember, some demos did leak, some songwriting demos. There was a songwriting demo of Thrown Down, not the Lindsey Buckingham version, but the actual Trouble in Shangri-La demo version of Thrown Down. And then there was another song, Not Make Believe. And I kind of put Not Make Believe and Love Changes together.
Yeah.
Oh, it's from the Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, it was a bonus on Say You Will.
The bonus track, yeah.
But the original demo was from this album.
Oh.
She was definitely on a roll with the songwriting, like some great shit.
I agree, but she was talking about, well, when there's a conflict, I can't make you see it wasn't better for me. So I'm leaving this relationship, love changes.
Right.
If I kind of just jump in real quick, there's a moment in your Dreams documentary, and I remember being in the theater watching it. She was, reminiscing on something, and her voiceover says, that's why I can still walk into a room now and still have a connection or whatever with somebody, because love doesn't change. And I sat there in my seat like, Love Changes, track number 8, No, Love Changes, I guess.
It's a great song. Unpolished.
Top 10.
Top 10?
I don't know about top 10.
All time?
Jim.
I think it probably would fit on Street Angel. It's kind of...
Yeah.
I feel like the hook was too good, though, for Street Angel. Like, this actually has a chorus that is kind of catchy.
It's a lot of Stevie's work. It kind of, break together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a little more, kind of, not totally polished, kind of, a little tongue in cheek, a little bit of angst, and there's some angst on Street Angel. Here she's a little bit more settled to what she's going to be and going forward, and I get the impression on this album there's a lot of a theme here where she's going where she's going, but she kind of feels sorry for the other party that has to watch her go, and you can see it. You kind of look through every song, and that's the theme, is like she's she might have a great time with a guy, but this is the business and the professional career is first, and that's what she has to deal with.
All right, Jim, you made me think of two things. Number one, the Street Angel version of Love Changes. Wasn't that I didn't love you? Ooh, and number two, I felt like this couldn't have been on that album because I feel like there's an emotional maturity here and kind of a comfortableness with life that she didn't have in her songwriting or songs prior to this album. So that's all I got. Any other thoughts on Love Changes?
What if this is about? We all know that a lot of the content on this album is from the dance tour, right?
Right.
What if this is Love Changes in the Flash of an Eye? What if it's about Lindsay? What if there is some watershed moment that happened and
Reinvent the pleasure.
and that's what this? What'd you say?
Reinvent
What'd
the
you
pleasure.
say?
Reinvent
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it sounds like a plunger, and I was going to say, yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Toilet seat up one too many times on that tour. But it's like maybe there's a specific moment that this song refers to. That's all I have to say.
See, I honestly like don't care at all about like the Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham soap opera. Like, I don't give two shits. But all these songs she wrote, like, I feel like something might. It seems like something went down on that dance tour. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that, but she was
It
rattled.
did.
She was rattled.
It did,
enough,
Jeremy.
like, it did.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
read
for
today
sure.
that Fall from Grace is about the interpersonal relationships on the dance tour, for
Right.
whatever that means.
I mean, there must have
Kinda
been an
vague.
intensity because she wrote some of her best songs ever after that tour, and it came from something. Like something happened.
I was sorry to interrupt. Keep going, Jeremy, sir. I was sorry to interrupt.
I didn't even realize you interrupted. So no need to.
You were talking about something went down on the dance tour.
I just feel like it must have been a very intense experience for her because she wrote some of her best songs ever.
Hello.
And you know, Silver Springs Live from '97 being any indication.
Right.
Do you guys remember the first time we saw it? Like, I know that's a different era, but like the first time we saw that, I was like, because I was ready for Street Angel Stevie Nicks, and then when she comes out with like, "You'll never get away," I'm like, what just happened?
She looked great. She looked like almost like, back to the old days.
And that intensity was like, damn. And that continued on into this album here. Okay, speaking of Lindsey Buckingham, he does make an appearance on the Trouble in Shangri-La album. On the next track, I Miss You, he plays guitar and he sings, correct?
I think he sings. Yeah, I think I hear him there.
This is probably my least favorite song on the album. I just feel like the lyrics are kind of clunky. The music's kind of boring. I don't care about fame. Like, I can't relate.
Okay.
Someone must love this song. Tell me why you love it, and maybe I'm wrong.
Very pretty lyrics, very pretty melody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alicia?
I like this song because I guess when I have friends or people that I'm not able to see, I can understand these lyrics. So I will admit, I'm an introvert. So I have a tough time always connecting with people. And so when I have that one person I can really connect and really talk to, that means so much for me. So if I can't sit down and really talk to that person, work out and talk out my feelings, my problems, I really miss that. And so to me, that's where this song comes from. She has that confidant that she really can work with and maybe keep her in line and everything. And so I understand the lyrics. The only problem I have is maybe it goes on a little longer than it should. Because she does
say it again. And again.
Yeah. But yeah, it's but I like it. It's maybe not the big highlight of the record, and I can definitely see why people don't particularly care for it. But I like it, generally speaking. It's not in the top 3 or anything, but I think it's a decent song.
Was this a co-write with Rick Knowles or whatever his name is?
Yes,
Yes.
music by.
Who
Background vocals too.
He wrote with her on Rock a Little and Other Side of the Mirror, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, who else?
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, Alicia.
It just makes me think, does this connect somewhere with like inspiration? No, she didn't write inspiration, but it does have kind of that. Sorry, that was just the thought that popped in my head. It
I
kind
love
of
it.
connects, sort of, even though she didn't write.
I like Inspiration though. Like, I know not a lot of
Nice
people.
song. Nice
I think
song.
it's pretty.
I love it, but
I
Yeah.
love that song.
Which song are we on?
I Miss You.
Okay, and Rick Knowles was involved in the writing process.
Yes.
Yes.
It's possible maybe he made the connection to the inspiration song
Yeah, that's true.
because he's, Stevie agent.
Paris to Rome, London to Paris. I can't even get out of Florida right now. All right, Steven, what do you think of this song?
All right.
It's all right. Jim?
Yeah, I like it. I don't think there's a bad song on the album.
No. All right, Jim, I saw your hand up.
Yeah. This is kind of especially on the first part. I love how she does these vocals. These are very CBS vocals. We take it for granted that she has a very I can't see anybody else singing these first 4 or 5 phrases here doing that other than her. It's just her enunciation. Her enunciation since Rhiannon, since I first heard her, is so unique and just so way past anybody that's ever came since. I mean, it's just a uniqueness to the way she just sings, and she writes really different, and then she sings really different.
I will say when I listened to it today, I liked it more than I remembered. I will say that.
Yeah. When I think about you, and just going, and that's just her.
I like where she's talking about the invisible girl that was her name. That's a really nice part.
There's a lot of remorse to this too. In saying, well, she's painting herself as, I was the bad person for doing this, but she knows that career and her mission is first.
Sure.
That's what it is.
I'm trying to rack my brain. Is the strained relationship from a different song? Does she say that in a different song, or is that unique to this one? I know she says it was a strain on her in Ooh My Love.
Yeah. It's
okay.
That's why I like her writing. There's a lot of similar. A word would match up, and you look at the songs, and they're kind of like, join at the hip.
That's her experience of love.
Yeah.
Strained.
I think what you were referring to, Jeremy, is the ending of the song. She says her heart settles down. She's back on that staircase on the way up to her place. I miss you now. Blah, 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 blah. The strained relationship thing there.
Right. Do you know, it's so funny because like Lindsey Buckingham's like, I am the architect of Stevie Nicks' songs. And then whenever she shows up on her solo albums, it's like, you get to I Miss You, you're like, oh, okay. You get to like Soldier's Angel, you're like, oh, no. Like, he never is like on he never shows up on her solo albums and like gives the wow moment. I feel like he's always on like the moment.
Well, he was on Soldier's Angel, correct?
Yeah. I definitely don't think that's the highlight of In Your Dreams, in my opinion.
But she did. Look, what is this? I mean, I love Lindsey Buckingham to death, but What is this?
She's looking past the white sand.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a solo album. That's what it is, Ronnie. It's a freaking solo album.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
without LB.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love Fleetwood Mac. I want to give the credit where credit is due, but hello.
Oh, he's poisoned to her music
right here.
by this point.
I heard that.
Keep going, guys.
Yeah.
Jim?
Okay. One thing. Stevie's gone. She's gone beyond Lindsey Buckingham. She has gone beyond Jimmy Iovine. Really, Iovine propelled her, but she's gone beyond that. And, and she's, it's not who's, helping her. It's when you look at things, she had her hand in, even the early days in Fleetwood Mac more than you know it.
Yep.
I listened to Christine's work with Fleetwood Mac, and she changed a bit of her style when Lindsay joined in. I don't know if that was like Stevie influenced Chris a little, or Lindsay, or but some of the old Christine work with Fleetwood Mac too.
Oh my God, Mystery to Me is such a good album.
Yeah,
Future Games,
Like-
Bare Trees.
Yes.
So, but I mean, Stevie's had her hand. She wants to be seen as kind of like this airy fairy a little bit, but you look at it professionally and the product, and she's had her hand in. She doesn't want to be seen as like an architect, but she is. I mean, she's got a good ear for people to bring on tour and on record. She has a pretty good ear to do all that.
I will say I feel like Stevie Nicks' best solo songs are just as good as her best Fleetwood Mac songs. I love them both. But
Well,
there's definitely a level of quality that's consistent across both. All right, any thoughts on I Miss You before we move on? All right, so let me just say that the last three songs on Trouble in Shangri-La are probably among my three favorite Stevie Nicks songs of all time. Like, I think I have so much like life and memory and emotion like tied into these last three songs. I'm getting a little emotional. Like, damn, the album starts off with a bang, and like these three songs like each gut me in their own way. So yeah, first we start with Bombay Sapphires featuring Macy Gray. Whatever. She didn't add or take away the song, in my opinion. It's like she's there, but this song's so damn good. I don't even care about fucking Macy Gray. But like, for the first time in Stevie Nicks' songwriting life, she's kind of reached a new emotional maturity that I needed that in my life at that time. To say, the sea is always there, no matter who are these fucking crazy people you meet in your life. These crazy men I've had in my life. You look past them and see the white sand. Shit, I needed to hear that, and I still need to hear that sometimes. So someone else talk, because I'm getting my feelings a little bit. Roland.
I like the song, and I like Macy Gray. She's a lover voice, but I thought she was very underused in this song. I don't hear her.
I don't hear.
I listened to it on headphones even because I really want to hear Macy Gray, but I don't. It's so mixed together that there's no differentiation I find between the two of them. I can't hear her. I think it would have been better if Macy sang one part, Stevie sang one part, like a duet kind of thing. So I thought she was wasted on the song, which is unfortunate.
See, I don't want to hear Macy Gray sing any of these lyrics. Like, sing the harmony and get the fuck out. That's how I feel.
Oh, and she did do this song on tour too. Yes.
This is the one Dallas Austin originally produced, right? And then Stevie Nicks did it herself. You, beloved, were everything to me love stood for. To love one another for a while. Like, she was hitting the nail on the head for me in a way she hadn't since maybe even like Wild Heart. Like, she was really like getting into my DNA here. And it's like, oh, girl, Stevie, I needed you. Thanks for coming back. All right, now, what does everyone else think of this song?
Jeremy, where are you? Dallas Austin, where are you getting this from? Because I'm not discrediting you, but he worked with Madonna on Bedtime Stories or whatever, and maybe a couple other albums. But are these the early takes?
Yep, she did some takes with him that never made the album. I think she had some sessions. She heard Unpretty by TLC and loved the sound of it.
Yeah.
And then went in the studio with him, and I don't think anything came of the sessions. If you go on YouTube, there's some songs that people think are from the sessions, but
okay,
sure.
And Bombay Sapphires was obviously part of that. I love the song.
Not that much different.
I love the song. I love the feel of it. I can hear Macy Gray on it, and I think it's not needed, especially after what she said about Stevie Nicks after that.
What'd she say about it?
What did she say?
I don't know. There was some kind of like I don't know if she was trying to push her own star, which never happened.
You can say that again.
She was trying to like say that Stevie was snorting coke or up her ass or something. I don't know. I don't know. It was she made a reference about coke and Stevie was obviously off of it at that
Yeah.
point. And yeah, it's like, okay, well, you had one hit, you're a has-been, who cares?
I just remember that Macy Gray said in an interview that she didn't know how to harmonize. So Stevie sang the harmony as a lead. And then Macy Gray copied Stevie singing that harmony part because she
Okay.
didn't know how to harmonize.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a good song. I liked it in concert.
Yeah. Jim.
I think it has a really cool, exotic music. But very, I don't know. It's kind of has a, I don't know, like a Santana feel to it, or a Spanish feel, or something like that. I don't know. It's really good. Hey, she wrote it, produced it. I mean, she pretty much
played
did
keyboards.
I love the reference to Purple Haze.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it's like I remember when Purple Haze came out. I mean, it was like Purple Haze. I mean, when you're growing up and all these great artists of that day came out, and you hear this Hendrix stuff, and God, this is just so cool. You just absorb it and say, this is totally unique, And you picked up a lot from Jimmy, because she was like open for him and all that. And I love the lyric. I can see you past the white sands. It's kind of the interpretation of that could be, it's pretty vague, but it's a pretty good song. It's not filler or anything. It's a pretty solid material. It's just a good listening experience. And other thing, she didn't have the guts. She said she wanted to have Sting to sing on it, and I think that probably would have been pretty damn good.
Oh my gosh, over Macy Gray.
Well, I'm not slamming Macy, but I think Sting would have added Sting would have added something to this if that would
contrast.
Yeah,
I think that would have been spectacular.
Hell yeah, Jim.
Just his presence. I don't know about playing on it or anything like that, but that would have been pretty neat just to have Sting on board. I don't know if she said she didn't have courage to. There could have been she could be telling that there was some scheduling thing and just she wanted to, and it just didn't happen.
The thing I liked about this song is when I heard it and when she would talk about it in interviews, it just felt like she grew as a person. And like this song was kind of a signpost of where she had arrived at that time in her life. A lot of artists maybe don't evolve. And Stevie Nicks, it was cool to have her come back to us and as an evolved being, like emotionally, musically, aesthetically. It was just cool as hell, man. 2001. Bring it on, Stevie. Alicia.
Just thinking through this record, maybe, I don't know, I don't remember them doing that a lot in 2001, but a lot of these songs, I always wish that we would have music videos for them. It would be really cool to see her do a video for this song, much like the title track and Candle Bright. I know it's a thing now to like do a music video for every song on the record and then kind of link it all together. But this album has such strong visuals and strong. It's one of those records where I wish this was kind of released while this whole make a music video for every song and put it on and release it, like they're doing right now here in the last several years.
Right.
It would have been really great. And she picks out really cool colors. I know you guys are doing Purple Haze, but Bombay Sapphires is another. I mean, there's just such vivid colors in this. It's just really, it's just like, and that's throughout this whole album. It's just a great record in that sense.
She did talk about how the ocean was an ongoing theme. We have it, of course, in the title track, in the Love Changes Waves, the Bombay Sapphires. So, yeah, I agree 100%.
And it's on the cover.
Yeah, and it's on the cover. Does anyone remember? Wasn't there a promo version of this CD that was released to the press or at a party that had 18 tracks that included My Heart, Annabelle Lee, and Thrown Down?
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Is anyone else aware of that?
Whether the
I wish I had it, but I'm not
I just have the
familiar with
promo
it.
advance, but it's just the straight album before it was released.
Okay, let me do some research and I'll drop that in our email too because I know it's out there. All right. Any other thoughts on Bombay Sapphire?
It's a great song. Did you hear the alternate version? I checked it out today on YouTube, and to be honest with you, and I hate to admit this, I kind of liked it better, but that's maybe because I only heard it once. It's more stripped down. It's less produced. It's a little more raw. It's really cool.
And that's the supposed Dallas Austin version, I think.
Oh, I liked it.
I should be writing down all the stuff that we're supposed to email each other. Ronnie, and then Jim.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was on mute for a minute.
Oh.
Did you speak of this in the last episode or several episodes where Stevie did? Was it Bombay Sapphires or was it a different reggae version of a different song?
Oh, that was the lovely Hawaiian tropical version of "If You Were My Love" from the Street Angel sessions.
Okay, I would have been happier with Bombay Sapphires. But it sounds like what Chris was talking about. You know, there's a different stripped down version.
Right.
Which I haven't heard either. Which I have opened up in another little window. I'm going to listen to it. But at first, give it 5 seconds. It sounds more piano focused, and it sounds good actually.
Yeah, it's less synthy. It's less electronic. It's more raw. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought
Okay, so it's that one, and not tropical sounding, not really very beachy so far.
No. I think they framed it as alternate mix is how it came to me, but it was very different. I liked it a lot.
Somebody in the comments suggests that Macy's voice agrees with us that Macy Gray's voice added nothing and was a marketing gimmick.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was on the track. I didn't even hear her. I don't hear her when I hear it.
I don't.
I hear her, honey. I hear her.
I'm glad I don't.
I tried to
it was marketing.
Goodbye and I smell.
It was marketing, and Macy didn't want to do it, and Stevie didn't want to do it, and whatever.
Fuck Macy.
It happened. Sorry, Jeremy.
Oh, don't be sorry. I'm sorry that we had to do Macy.
It happened, and we're all sorry. But it's a good song.
It's such a good song. It's Stevie. It's different than anything else really in her catalog. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you put next to Bombay Sapphires? Like, we could joke around like that "If You Were My Love" thing, but no, like this isn't a league of its own.
What would you put next to that? Some song in Hawaii with Sharon? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Blue Water. Yeah,
Blue Water.
Blue Water.
Something from the main stage at Fleetwood's while they're eating their mahi mahi.
Blue Bayou by Linda Ronstadt. I don't know.
Would you like a clam chowder with your Bombay Sapphire? All right. Clearly, I'm getting tired because I'm saying stupid shit. Okay, there's 2 songs left on this album, and damn, they're good. Damn, these last 2 songs are good. Fall from Grace. I remember someone describing it as punk rock. Now, it's certainly not punk rock, but it's rock as F. Like, and I'll never forget the interview. She said, was it Rosanna Arquette came to the studio because the producer was trying to cut out a verse, and Rosanna Arquette said, this song needs all the lyrics in it. So because of that, Stevie got to keep all the lyrics on the album. This song is longer and not a moment is wasted. I think every second counts in the song. It's so good. Someone else talk because
very strong track.
Steven.
You guys see the Blockbuster Awards when they debuted this song?
Oh yeah, with Sheryl Crow. With Sheryl Crow, yeah.
That was so wonderful. That was my Stevie's back moment. I never thought I'd see her rock like that on stage.
Right.
And she went for the high note, which she tended to peter out on. Loved it. Loved it. I love this song.
Has Stevie ever rocked this hard again? I know she tried with I Don't Care, but let's not go there.
Well,
Ghosts Are Gone, maybe, but it's not as good.
This song is just so singular. Like Bombay Sapphires and this one just so stand on. They're so good. Ronnie.
Well, Jeremy, she did rock. You know, on her birthday anniversary of In Your Dreams, where she did the Will Turn in LA.
I was there. Loved it.
You were there. Okay, good. And what's his name from the Foo Fighters?
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl.
Thank you. I mean, and Dave Stewart was there too, I think.
Right.
And she really fucking rocked the whole fucking concert. Why they didn't release that as a DVD, I don't understand. But whatever, it was a great show. But that's when she rocked it again. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
What song did she do with Dave Grohl? Did she do the song that she recorded with him, or did they just do like one of hers?
I think he was there for the most of the concert. He was there.
Right,
it
but
was
you said
the Ghosts Are Gone.
He usually jumps up on stage though and plays with people.
Yeah, the Ghosts Are Gone, and he did several others. You know, Steven was there, so he can tell us more about that. But that's when she really rocked it.
I didn't know who Dave Grohl was at the time.
They did not do You Can't Fix This.
I don't know who he is either, but I know him by physically seeing him.
Right.
I know now. Like you see him together a lot recently.
The song she did with him was You Can't Fix This, right?
Yeah, sure.
For his record.
I like that song.
But during the concert, maybe I'm confused. Maybe it was just Dave Stewart.
I feel like he might have been there. That was a good. I remember that show, and I know we're skipping ahead an album, but that was
Mike Campbell.
Mike Campbell.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
So everyone thought Tom Petty was coming out the way she introduced him, and then Mike Campbell came out. We're like, oh, that's cool.
I know we're jumping ahead, but we had like 10 years of Stevie kind of doing the same set list. So when she came back with that Will Turn show, and she did so many new songs, that was our next podcast is gonna be another like Stevie's back, the 2010s version. But let's not jump ahead. Fall from Grace.
Sorry, Jeremy, I jumped ahead.
Oh, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Who produced this? Was it John Shanks? But Sheryl Crow sang on it.
Produced by John Shanks and Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And she said many times the song's about the dance tour, but beyond that, it's just about an intense relationship. Like what it means to Stevie. She put that in the song, but it meant something to me in my own life, and I think that's the best songs are universal. Because she has some of those songs where she really starts talking about the fame and you kind of get lost. But this one, I love it. Someone else talk. I'm not making sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim.
Yes. It's a very fast-paced song, but it's not, when you really look at it, it's not an angry song. It's a very intense thing. It's more, and she says, I've read in interviews and stuff, it's kind of like, it's about another member in Fleetwood Mac. And when I think about it, it could be about like old Mick Fleetwood. Mick Fleetwood had his, lost period too. So, and maybe Stevie was singing this about Mick and bringing him back from, his problems. So
he always accepted everything he said is the truth and the truth only.
It's all the king's horses, all the king's men. That's like an old English fable. That could be like a reference to Mick. So, it could be about Mick. It could be about herself too. She'll write things, and it sounds like it's about another person, but she's talking about herself.
Exactly.
So, it's kind of open-ended. I think it's like I said, it's bringing someone back from the brink. It's more of an encouragement for a fellow member of this wild lifestyle to kind of, better get it together, or, bad things could happen.
We all agree that last note, make sure you survived.
Yeah.
She means that.
That's great. That's great.
She meant that. That's real.
Yeah.
And when she sings the way people get this high, that part, isn't that amazing?
The song's amazing.
The highness of performing, or it could be a drug reference.
Now, are we in agreement again? Is there anybody here that doesn't love this song?
Very, very powerful track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Once again, like her songwriting at the top of its game. Like,
Yes.
and it's a current. This wasn't a demo. This is a current. It was so great because she had a couple of the older songs on here, but the new songs she was writing for this album just stood up with the best of her material, and it still does. You know, some of the production's dated as it should be 20 years ago, but all right, I'm drinking so much water. I have to take a 2-minute break. So who wants to? Who can you guys talk amongst yourselves about Fall from Grace?
Right.
Give me something to watch when I watch this on YouTube.
Ready for encore.
She said that it's her version of Edge of 17 for this particular record.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah.
What's that, Roland?
That it's her, kind of version of Edge of 17 for this record.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
A powerful rocker,
Yes, I can see that.
Oh, that Blockbuster Awards.
I know this. What a silly award.
It was kind of a made up award because
Yeah.
Blockbuster was about ready to go down the tubes. But I think Cheryl handed her off that award, and Stevie just about it was sliding down her leg, and she almost dropped it.
Mhm.
It was kind of funny. That might have been that curse. It might have been the curse of Blockbuster right there. It might have been, but Stevie almost dropped it, and then Blockbuster went down the. That's crazy. If Blockbuster would have done a Netflix thing, they'd still be going.
Yeah.
You know,
Blockbuster, the video chain.
Yeah, the video.
she got an award. She got a lifetime achievement award from Blockbuster, and they were gone in 2 years.
Yeah.
I miss Blockbuster.
But that's a great late clip of her really giving it live.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a great performance.
and all the screaming, the fire in the background.
You know, the next performance I think of her that is, I'm sure there were some other great ones, but another one that's like on the level of that is when she did Soldier's Angel, when that windstorm was coming and her hair was.
Oh, her hair. Yeah. And she, she
yeah,
almost got blown
yeah.
off the stage,
Yeah.
Like,
I'm from there.
I put those side by side as like later day iconic Stevie Nicks performances.
That's home.
Where was that at, Jim? Where do you live? Where was that
That
at?
was the Buffalo Chip in Sturgis, South Dakota.
Mm.
Buffalo Chip Camp, Sturgis, South Dakota. Outside
Okay.
of
No.
She played that festival?
a biker rally.
She played there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fleetwood Mac played there, I think.
No,
Is that
Fleetwood,
correct?
that's a little bit low for Fleetwood to go out and do a bike.
Oh, so it was just Stevie. Okay. Got it.
Jeff Bridges introduced her.
Yeah, that was. Unfortunately, I moved to Tennessee, and then Stevie does our friggin' bike route. And I went. Damn.
Ronnie.
Speaking of, she has a couple new concerts or just one-off concerts coming up. One is in Atlanta, and
I wanna go.
November, I think.
Let's go.
And there's another one I didn't keep track of it because it's not, it's not where I'm going to be. I don't know where it's going to be, but it's sooner than November.
Is it in Napa, California? Someplace like that?
That one's sold out.
I believe that is so. Yes.
And I think she's going to do Austin, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Austin. That's what I'm talking about because I'm going to be in Austin, but not during her concert.
See, when Fleetwood
She's
Mac
doing
tours,
these one-off shows. Keep going, Jeremy.
when Fleetwood Mac tours, it's cool, but like I live for the Stevie solo tours. Like I prefer Stevie solo because it's just more of it's like a family. It's spontaneous, and she puts so much heart into it. Even the Fleetwood Mac concerts, like everything Lindsey Buckingham or whoever says between the songs is like the same script every show exactly.
Well, yes, that's true.
Which I love. Like I love that too. All right, do you guys remember later on in the 2000s? Didn't Stevie Nicks give Bill Clinton a copy of Trouble in Shangri-La? It was like 2009. Said this is the last album I'll ever make. Remember that? Does anyone else remember that?
No.
Thank God that's not what happened. Because she
Yeah.
called this her last album for many years because albums didn't sell anymore. And lucky us got another chapter or two. All right. Any thoughts on Fall from Grace before we move on?
Well, this is just like her hatred song, and I'm like, it's so powerful, and I just remember listening to the last stanza or whatever it's called. I imagine her dancing around in her boots and whatever. Maybe I made the whole thing up. Maybe it isn't a lie. And obviously she did not do that on stage because she was too old to do all that, but she probably would have in 1985 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just it's an awesome song. It's an awesome, hateful, but very empowering song.
I don't think it's particularly hateful.
I think it is, Jim. Sorry.
I think it's.
She's even said that herself, but I think it's very like it came from a very hateful place, and she toned it down a little bit.
Bringing someone back from the brink.
I think it's angry more than hateful.
It's anger. It's
yes.
Shocking. I mean, you could be interpreting that you're angry. She's angry about someone's own demise. I think I look at that in more of a positive or more of a I don't know, not necessarily teaching moment, but
When's the last time she was this pissed off? Long way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but I like Jim's interpretation. I like to turn that around into the positive light,
right?
Where she's moving forward.
Yeah,
and that's what this whole album was. I feel like is she has a legacy, but she's definitely moving forward. Like there's a lot of forward momentum. All right.
Yes.
Here we are.
Will anyone be offended if I say a couple bad words here?
No.
All right. We're getting to the last song on the album.
Oh.
I'm gonna make some controversial statements. Is that okay with everybody? As the host, I'm gonna be controversial. Fuck Beauty and the Beast. Fuck, has anyone ever written anything for you?
Okay.
Love is a song, the song that tears my heart apart more than any of those other ones. Like
beautiful song.
I just
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a live, in the 2000s.
10 years.
The it's just such a beautiful song, and it just sums up things from my life, and that's I can do without Sarah McLachlan croaking along, but eventually it's like shut up. She gets on my nerves anyway with that damn Angel song with the dogs in the video.
Jeremy.
I never liked Sarah McLachlan. I just thought she was the
Jeremy.
I know. Sorry. But Love Is one of my favorite, definitely in my top 10 favorite Stevie Nicks songs of all time. Okay, Steven.
This takes your water theme. It continues it. It goes underwater with Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, Stevie
it's terrible. The production on this song is a crying shame.
She flew up to Canada,
vocal.
right? And recorded.
What's that?
She flew up to Canada.
Yeah. Vancouver.
Yeah.
With just a piano and live, it's a masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
So theatrical, and I agree with everything you said.
Oh my god!
With that version of it, the album version is hard to listen to. I actually shut it off today.
Didn't Stevie herself say like, "Oh, we kind of missed the mark in the studio"? Didn't she say something to that?
I think so. She alluded to it.
But damn, that line, like, she awakens things that you thought were dead.
Tell me.
Oh, tears! Here they come.
What's going on here? What?
She awakens things that. Dang.
He said she thought were
dead.
Yeah.
He says, "Are you happy now?" Oh, yes, I am.
But when it's over, how then will you feel?
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
you
miss those arms that used to go around you.
Which is from No Questions Asked, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is another one of my favorite songs. I freaking love No.
Yeah, that's an underrated song. No Questions Asked.
So
that was on the Fleetwood Mac box set, right?
Yeah, and the Greatest Hits. It was
right. Oh, the green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Paper Doll, right? Those two were her additional tracks.
No, As Long As You Follow.
As Long As You Follow is on that too.
Yeah.
That
Wait.
green one with that
Paper
orange
Doll's
box
only on the
the
box
cover.
set, not on the album.
Yep, that's just on the box set.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
Ronnie?
green one,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
there something separate from that because that I don't know about?
Well, there was an accompanying box set that came out the same year.
No, the chain box set came out a little bit later. Because the greatest hits was 88, and then the box set was 92, I think. Because Mick Fleetwood wouldn't let her put on silver.
Right now, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
On
Yeah, you're
time
right. It was
space.
post 90, the box set. You're right.
Okay, I was confused. So
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry, I'm such a
Okay.
nerd. I'm like, I know these.
No, he's right. I thought they came out almost
That's why we're
simultaneously.
no,
here,
Jeremy, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're real good.
I'm good
Jeremy.
now.
I'm impressed. I love how much you pull
When
us
they were good,
Eight
they
up.
were real good.
good.
Real good stranger. All right, Alicia, what do you think of
And she
Love
also
Is?
says in Angel, when they were very good, they were very
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Do you love in that documentary when she goes, I love it. I just love it.
Oh, about Angel?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
We're doing Fleetwood Mac someday, right? We need to talk about Tusk.
Jeremy, yes.
That's going to be too
I
far.
wanted to be on erotica, but that didn't happen. Sorry, Jim, I interrupted you.
Oh, let's not talk about my erotica podcast.
I'm gonna watch it.
That
obviously.
girl you had on blew the whole thing up.
We need to do a
She
retake.
took the dynamite and went, fuck erotica.
That's my best friend in the
Oh,
whole
she
world.
did. I know she is, but she tramped all over her. Any moment she could get a dig in, she was going a full in. She just couldn't stand her. I watched it. I know.
Jeremy, you need to retake, and we're gonna do that, sir.
It's
when
fun
when you're ready.
watching, but you must admit she took the dynamite and went. That's what she thought of erotica.
Sounds good.
Jim, I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you. What were you saying, sir?
Back to Love Is. Okay.
I'm too busy having fun with you guys, and I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, Nathan,
Okay.
what do you think of Love Is?
I like it. I really liked it when she did it live in the 2011 tour. Whenever that, like there's one in Jones Beach that I thought was really good, and
There's
so-
yeah.
yeah, I wasn't a fan of it on the record for a long time, but once I started seeing that live, it was it's as good as Beauty and the Beast was a couple of years before when she did that live.
Yep.
So
And I love Beauty and the Beast and Has Anyone Ever Written, but did she call
it doesn't
those two
sound like
songs
it, Jeremy. That's not what I was getting from you a moment ago.
Men Lie? Just like Madonna says in Body of Evidence. Okay,
It's true.
I love them, but Love Is my favorite of them all. And I was really
Great
surprised
closing track. Great closing track.
when she came back and started doing that in concert. And didn't she call it like a trilogy? Like this is the third song in the
Yeah.
trilogy.
Yeah.
So it is worth. So she has linked that to. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's linked that to the other two.
Yep.
That's interesting.
You
She
know,
named the other two. She name checked them. You
Mhm.
didn't just assume.
she said that these are her closing songs. This is the third in a trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And despite my previous statements, we all know Beauty and the Beast and Has Anyone Ever Written are, masterpieces.
Yeah, they're top notch. They're top notch.
So don't make a soundbite out of me, YouTube. Okay, Jim, did you have your hand up?
Yes, it's pretty good track on its own, and it was a pretty good track when first came out. It's funny hearing this track and then hearing those great live versions. There is several great live versions. There's like one in San Francisco, and there's one on the East Coast. There's the people with their iPhones or whatever getting great footage, and every one of them is just spectacular. Other than recently, when she does Gold Dust Woman, this is great stuff. A true great live performer at this age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, when people may say that she's over the hill, hang it up, I'll bring up
Hell
stuff like
no. Keep going, Stevie.
yeah.
Now-
Like I said about she awakens things that he thought were dead. I get some personal feelings about things in my life. It brings out some old feelings.
Speaks to maturity.
It's
For
very
sure.
Yeah.
I think it sums
Yes,
up the whole
Steven.
album because she probably thought her career was dead after Street Angel, and like all these different aspects of her life were reawakening that she probably thought were dead. And I just think it really sums up the whole era.
Yeah.
Whether it's romantic or professionally or just self-worth.
Mhm.
Wow. Oh, all I can do is exhale after this album. Alicia.
I think "Love Is" a fantastic song. It's her drawing. Every time I hear it, it pulls me in. It's a good storytelling song, and I always get hung up when she says, "So she stood there in the hallway, frozen in the dark, and her heart
Yeah.
broke down. She fell to
one
the floor.
ear.
One tear slid
Oh,
to her lips."
That's why it's great live. It's a great imagery, and then she makes it about her fans at the end. Are you happy now? And then she starts smiling. It just, gosh, there's nothing like.
No,
Very magical.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's why you go to shows.
And the truth is, like, love really is watching someone go sometimes, as hard as it is. It's so hard sometimes. And like, here it is in a song. So thank you, Stevie, for.
And like someone said, Tom Petty's advice worked. I mean, this was the first song she wrote for the record after the talk at the restaurant.
Oh, this is the very first one?
Yep. And then Trouble in Shangri-La was the second, right?
Wow.
So thank you, Tom Petty.
Thank you, Tom Petty. Yep.
Tom should be with us.
So many of the songs on this album gave me a place to put my emotions. It didn't exist before this album. Because Stevie wasn't writing about the things on her other albums that she wrote about on this album. This was new ground for her, like lyrically, sonically. It was so cool. Like the Trouble in Shangri-La moment was a one-of-a-kind moment. Ronnie.
Oh, I'm muted. So I was really confused about this because she did Love Is, but not under the Trouble in Shangri-La concert. She did it several years ago, which I thought was really crazy. And I've saved these. So I think it was on Gold Dust Tour that she did Love Is at the end?
I thought it was In Your Dreams. I thought it was even
I know she did it for In Your Dreams.
Dream she did, yeah, I saw that.
So interestingly enough, I have that ticket and it says $23. I was in the yard.
Right.
Rain, no shine, or whatever. Rain or shine. And then I saved this. It was $23, but for 2001 for Trouble in Shangri-La, it was $45 to sit in the stands. I mean, it's crazy. Like I love the fact that she did Love Is because it's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about that.
I
was
honest,
just curious about all these concert stubs and bullshit.
I kind of consider myself a jaded old bitch. Like, after a while, there's just not much feeling left. But damn,
you don't know what year is what year and when did I go see that concert and all that bullshit. I get it, Jeremy.
This song still makes me cry, and not much does anymore in this world. So
absolutely.
Jim, did you have your hand up?
Yes. When I after watching, I never listened to the studio album. It was kind of weird listening again. It's like it was sped up. It's like, I don't know, the timing or it's like it was rushed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good as it is, but when Stevie does a lot, she takes her time and she emphasizes, and she's just, she's feeling it in the moment, and the crowd gets into it. There's hollers from the crowd to her. It is something special.
It really is. Do you guys put Moonlight up there with those songs?
I would. I love that song.
I do too. When she does that live, that's another damn. Stevie takes you where these songs take you where only Stevie can take you. Honey.
I mean, she's often like hesitant to do new stuff because people go to the bathroom, go buy beer, but she really sold Moonlight on that tour with the fur coat and the wolves in the background, and it was very a very emotionally, heartfelt vocal and performance of that song. So, for an unknown song that people are gonna ignore, but she sold it, and hopefully that'll be in the set still, or people will know it and like it and keep remembering it.
My only wish is on that wonderful live. I think the 24 Karat live album is amazing, but damn it, this is for Prince. Like,
Thank you.
It is.
See what I was gonna. Yep.
Oh, that ruins it for me. I loved Moonlight. I loved the Ladies of the Mountain demo. So when it became a song, I was like, oh my God. And then when it became a highlight of the concert, I was like, oh my God. And then when I had the live version on CD, this is for Prince. I'm like, oh, my heart stabbed me.
I need to edit that out.
Yeah, can someone please give me a mix without that in there?
I'll do it for you. Yeah.
I love Prince. Like, Prince is definitely my top 10, and I love Moonlight, but I don't need them together. Ronnie.
Well, Nathan had his hand up first.
Oh,
but
Nathan.
Sinead O'Connor does not like Prince right now.
Oh, I bought her.
Read about that.
If you've read the news. Nathan
said it was creepy.
Nathan,
no,
I didn't mean to skip
wonderful.
you.
No, you made my point. Prince was my point. So.
Prince. This is for Prince.
Bad choice.
Why was that song for Prince? Like, there are other songs for Prince. Stand Back is for Prince.
Did she dedicate Edge of 17 to Prince during that tour? Because she had pictures of him in the background with her, like a fake together picture of her and Prince together. They were never photographed together, as far as I know. But that was in the backdrop during Edge of 17 for the.
It's a fake photo.
What's going here?
It's a fake photo.
I think so. Yeah.
What's going on?
As far as I know, because I've been collecting and looking at her stuff for a very long time.
Yeah, and you've never seen an actual
Prince and Stevie Nicks photo together. It would have been in the public, and I would have seen it. To be quite honest,
right?
Like
it would have turned up like in her Enchanted box
or
set.
83.
It's show business.
She would have probably stuck it in her box set, the Enchanted box set, when she's pulling out all the old pictures.
It's a fake picture. I mean, but the fan. I mean, I don't mind.
Back then, people weren't very camera conscious.
Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap things up, I guess should we talk about we already kind of talked about all the demos and B-sides. Is there anything we missed?
There was
I like My Heart.
I like that song. That's a great song. Yeah, from the next record. Yeah.
Do you like how she did it?
That.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
Alicia, do you like the Trouble in Shangri-La outtake version better or the In Your Dreams?
If I
One right answer.
Trouble in Shangri-La, it's more acoustic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it starts off slow.
And I like it. That one and Touched by an Angel, I think would have worked a lot better on this record. If she could have taken those out and
she has so
Twisted is another song. I know that was. It's just really interesting how. I don't know how she does it, but she always seems to have better songs on these soundtrack records than a couple songs off the record. It's almost like if we could switch them.
You know what? I had to correct something from earlier. The version of Thrown Down from Trouble in Shangri-La was on that 18-track promo CD that went out. So she definitely did record it for this album.
Oh.
With Lindsey Buckingham. And then re-recorded a different version for Say You Will.
So do you think then, if that's true, then when he came together with her, they banged out both those tracks? They did Thrown Down and I Miss You together?
Yeah, maybe.
You think maybe they did a session when they did two songs?
Yeah.
It's pretty close to what it became. It's not that far off.
I love Thrown Down.
Yeah, so do I. I had no
Great
idea it was
song.
written for this record. That's really cool.
Because the Trouble in Shangri-La version, she wrote a different. In the Trouble in Shangri-La version, she repeats the first verse, and then on the Say You Will, she actually wrote a new.
Right.
I can't remember. It's not coming to me off the top of my head. I'm losing my faith in me, losing my faith in everyone else. That was the new verse that she wrote. I love that song. I'm babbling. Do you guys like Space Needle?
Yes, that's a
That would be
great
a
song.
really cool
Love that. Yeah. Once it's properly produced and jazzed up and official, I think it'll be a great song.
Yes.
Even though I do like the demo.
She was on a damn roll.
Song. What a sad song.
Yeah.
When I went to Seattle and saw the Space Needle, I kept thinking of that song.
And then, of course, there was the Trouble in Shangri-La, Annabelle Lee.
Yeah.
It didn't go on for 20 years like the In Your Dreams version. But
Oh, Lord.
There's a real version of Annabelle Lee?
yeah, from Trouble in Shangri-La, I think.
I'd love to hear that.
All right, we have a lot of stuff to write about in our email thread after
Yeah,
this.
I've heard demos. I've never heard a fully produced version.
Yeah, you people bring up a lot of songs when I started watching this program that I thought I was a really great Stevie Nicks expert, but when I was watching your shows, I was learning about stuff I had never heard about.
And Steven, maybe I'm wrong.
I was like, I want to hang out with these guys.
Maybe it was a demo and for Annabelle Lee. I'll have to research it.
Okay, yeah, because I like that song.
For my heart, there was a fully produced Trouble in Shangri-La version,
Yeah.
correct? All right,
Yes.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
I'm not on the email thread, but I'm okay with that. So it is what it is. I find it really interesting that Alicia and you, Jeremy, said that My Heart was scheduled for this song or this album, but because I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, didn't she record that for In Your Dreams?
She did.
But it was originally recorded from this album.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Much better, too.
And the melody was totally different in the verses.
Yeah.
Way
It
better.
was better on this album.
I think so. I can't listen to the one.
I like the In Your Dreams version better.
I like the official one better.
We're half and half.
So it's the
Well,
demo
it's
and
interesting
the
because Steven likes the original, and oftentimes when I was a kid growing up, I used to like the demos a lot. I got very attached to the way she originally does her demos.
But the My Heart wasn't a demo. It was actually a finalized, mastered version for Trouble in Shangri-La. Then they booted it off the album.
yeah. And
The
Jeremy,
second
didn't
one
she
doesn't
have
sound
a
finished.
What's that?
Sounds like
didn't
they
she
were-
have a
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no? You're
Sorry.
fine. Didn't she have an original demo? Have No Heart.
Yes.
Yes. That's a different song.
That was older, right?
Okay.
That's a very gothic sounding song.
Well, I would like that, and yeah, I'm not in on the email threads, which is
Actually,
fine.
Yeah, well, I'll add you to it because I think we have a lot to share with each other.
Do you think that because she's brought these songs out on Trouble in Shangri-La and 24 Karat Gold, do you think that she now sits back and says, okay, I've done my work. I culled some of my demos that were out there circulating in bootleg circles. I polished them up. I put them out for good. My fans should be satisfied. So when she passes on, we don't get this. I always dreamed of this. Not that I wanted to pass on, but just follow me. I dreamed of this massive box set. All her demos complete. We'll never get that because she feels that because she takes them and puts them out, that she's done her work, correct?
Yeah, I don't know. It could go either way.
I think there's plenty of stuff still out there, or at least a good amount. I think I don't have that on any good authority. It's just my suspicion.
Well, no, I know you're exactly right, Nathan. I'm wondering, will we ever see that though? All this
I think we
crappy
could.
stuff all this stuff that constantly circulates on the internet.
Right.
Why wouldn't she, in her best interest, just pull it all together and release it as the complete
We need an
Stevie
officially
Nicks
released.
demo box set?
We need an officially released version of the Mabel Norman demo. Alicia,
Nathan, is it wrong for me to want that?
No, I don't think it's wrong for
not at
you.
all.
I think
Have to
that-
be good. Sorry, Alicia, go on.
well, I was gonna say, I think she may do it, but it may be another 10 years. It seems like she still wants to record at least one more record.
Yes.
She said she does, right?
And so I think when she's really done recording, I think she's made it clear she's not going to ever record again with Fleetwood Mac. So
Yeah.
Buckingham's just going to have to deal with it. But
Yes.
I think when she's done with her solo side, I can see a big box set. And if she doesn't release it out, heaven forbid, after she's gone, I can see her brother and
Yeah,
her
The
whole
Prince
family.
estate, like the Prince estate.
Yes.
like the
clean
Tom
her.
Petty estate, like the Hendrix estate, like
Yeah.
the soon-to-be Van Halen estate.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to come out because they know they can make a fortune out of.
Yeah.
That's
wonder-
what hurts me, Alicia, because I'd rather her do it under her own control.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to see her do it under
Understood.
her own control.
I would like her to be the curator, not someone else.
Do you know who is doing that right
Because
now?
then that way you know that it's the quality that she agrees to.
Yeah.
Well, she
Like,
can
she's
do
Some
not-
of
that
her demos are just
but-
boring. They're long and boring. Like the original demo for Gypsy just went on and
Yeah.
on and on. And also, Mabel Norman, I remember hearing that. I was so unimpressed, and I thought, oh my God, it's going to be on the record. But the record version is amazing. Not the demo.
Amazing.
So maybe it's wrong for me to want for that stuff. Maybe it's all crap.
Do you know who's
Maybe
doing
it's
a
no
really?
good.
Do you know who's doing a nice job with her legacy? Is Joni Mitchell. She's going through and putting out these archive sets of all her like demos and going era by era, and I just think it's beautiful the way she's treating her legacy. So I'd love
Right,
to.
but also the other great thing about it is she's still in control of it. It's not like she's
Yeah.
passed on and someone else is just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, but she's also looking at 80, maybe even her mid 80s. So I mean, I think we're looking at another 10 years before maybe Stevie really sits down and says, "Okay, let's do this."
Well, she better because I don't feel like spending all that money right now.
Well, she sold her catalog last fall.
And if she's not inspired to do new songs, just go do songs that you hidden away, like do a 24 karat gold part 2.
I like that last song. That last song she came out with is a little rambly. The JFK one. Sold Them the Way.
I think her intentions were good, but the lyrics were so clunky.
The KFC one.
All right. It's getting late. We had to end
Yes.
the podcast, but the way we always end it, by rating the album on a scale of 1 to 10. So
Okay.
get the numbers in your head.
I already got it.
Ronnie, we'll start with you.
9.
15.
9. I'm gonna start with
9 out of 10.
Nathan.
6.
Ooh,
6.
Ooh, girl. Jim.
8. 88.5.
Chris.
I'll give it an 8.
Steven.
Or 8. Well, yeah.
8.
8. Alicia.
8.8.
Can I say, I don't know, I feel like I'm a teacher more. Can I say B plus or A minus?
Yeah.
You can say 9, Alicia.
Okay, that may be translated into 9, 8.79.
I love you.
All right. Last but not least, Roland.
Roland's frozen up again.
Oh shit.
Oh, no.
He gives it a 6.
I'm gonna give trouble.
No, he's giving it a higher
Trouble
rating.
Shangri-La.
Pretty up, he's up there with me. He's going to give it at least an 8.
Yeah.
or
What do you
9.
guys think, Roland? Oh, Roland, you're back. What do you?
Was
what do
he
you give?
frozen?
I say 8.
What do you give Trouble in Shangri-La? The suspense is killing me.
I know, right?
I haven't felt this much suspense since they're waiting for Stevie to come out on Edge of 17 on the Red Rocks video.
Nice.
Okay, I give it a 9. I give it a 9.
Compared to my 4 before for Street Angel.
4?
Street
Did
Angel.
Roland just say 4?
No. No
Chrysler.
way. He
Chrysler.
likes the record. Bring him back.
Here he comes.
Is he
He
just
said
saying
4 with
4?
Street Angel.
Roland. No. Oh, are you with us?
He is, but he's muted.
Tell him to put up fingers.
It's like
Give him a number on his fingers.
I give it a 9.
He's going to say 8.
Jerms, I love you. I'll be in Tampa in July, but it's for a very short minute. It's in the
10.
airport. So
10.
10.
Is that his
Roland.
voice?
Do you give it a 10?
Was
Yeah,
that his
yes, he
voice?
did.
10.
if it wasn't.
Ask him again.
You give it a 10?
10. I give it a 10.
Yeah.
Oh, 10.
If you can hear me. 10.
Changing mine to 9.5. 9.5. Just because the effect it had on my life, that made me stronger. We needed that to get to where we're going. All right. Well, Stevie Nicks family, I would say that this has been my most fun I've had yet doing one of these podcasts with you guys. Like this album, I just love it so damn much. I love
this album. This is a great Stevie Nicks album. If you have not heard it, you must.
You must.
It's one of the best. One of the best.
All right. Well, show us
the way back. A late career zenith.
Yeah.
I'm just glad she survived to make.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, when Street Angel came out, did you ever think we'd have a Trouble in Shangri-La? Never.
Nope.
This may be her strongest work, too, in terms of being a concept album. I mean, she kind of tried at that at different times before, but as far as fully realizing it, this may be the best example of that. So that's one of the things I like about it.
Yes, she tried with the Alice in Wonderland.
Focus.
She tried with the Alice in Wonderland on the other side of the mirror and then gave us Fire Burning.
Well, maybe that's.
I love Fire Burning.
Yeah.
Okay, Cry Wolf.
Alice has like a 3-song suite though on side 2, right?
Yeah.
Where they're all connected together, right?
That was amazing.
They really were. Yeah.
That may be a better example, but this is close.
Yeah.
And they definitely did the stage to a larger degree, keeping it with the album theme.
Yeah.
I think than they did with it, because what they do for the stage Another Side of the Mirror, it was the normal kind of, I think she called it the Aztec landing layout. And they had a stuffed rabbit, right, Chris? Whereas on the Trouble in Shangri-La, it looked like the album cover. It looked just like it. And imagine if you were, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that a kid especially lives for, is to go and it's just like the album cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exciting. So I don't know. So, but overall, The Other Side of the Mirror as an album is probably a better example of having a consistent theme. Thanks, Jeremy. It's good to see everybody again.
All right, friends. So let's do this again next month.
The checker.
Oh, we lost Roland. All right. So next month we are going to be hanging out with Dave Stewart. We're going to be hanging out in the mansion. We're going to be riding a horse in the woods and hanging out with Edgar Allan Poe. So let's do it next month. I will see you all next month, my friends.
Love it.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Show me
Bye,
the way
guys.
back.
Take care. Stay
Honey.
safe.